with that being said, very, very simple. Let's pull it. I've seen my boy Don Johnson on a few virtual spaces. He's the man to talk to. We're gonna pull him up. We're gonna get into his brain. What's going on with Robinhood? Let's get the scoop right now. Mr. Don Johnson, it's a pleasure speaking with you here in person.
Yeah, GM, morning, guys. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, congrats on all your growth. Um, over a year, what 500 plus interviews
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's a grind. Like I tell this to teams all the time. Like things don't just take off on day one, right? If you
Real.
if you do get some good, let's say like traction right from the start, like you're gonna have to go through those periods. And yeah, you guys, congrats on everything. And I think pretty early for you too. You guys have positioned yourself well.
Well, that's what's been so exciting about this show, and especially during the bear market when it's pretty quiet. You get to position at the bleeding edge, and anytime there's a new narrative popping up, it's nice because MCG can kind of cover it, and so we've been able to do that. And of course, Robinhood's no different, and Virtuals, being the first there is no different. So similar to MCG being on the cutting edge and being first to some of these new narratives, Virtuals also is. Can you talk us through that? And I think Don, we want to get to know you a little bit better too. But even before that, talk us through the relationship here with Robinhood, because very clearly you guys were live from day one on Robinhood chain. You
Yeah.
guys had like a very deep pipeline lined up and ready to go. What did that like conversation beforehand look like? How did you guys, I guess, kind of, how were you guys kind of chosen as that launch partner of Robinhood? Because it's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, it's something that was cooking for a number of months. This didn't just we didn't just get an email the week before. So we were working quite a bit on the back end with them. With these types of companies, obviously we can't broadcast out, we can't talk about it. I saw something you guys actually mentioned a couple of weeks ago where I think you almost like spotted it. I like to call a lot of our community members that do like deep like DD. I like to call them the virtual detectives, right? And you guys yourselves did a little bit of detective work because we had like a solid group of teams lined up. And I think you guys mentioned you're like, wow, they have all these teams lined up, but like, is something coming, right? So we couldn't talk about it ahead of time, but yeah, we were working, through the back channels, with them quite a bit, to prepare. I think what was attractive, a couple things, right? Like and I can't necessarily speak for them, but what
Sure.
was attractive, for us was this millions and millions of retail users that they have already connected with. And believe what was attractive to them, and hearing it even, more even this morning, is the quality of builders, in our ecosystem. Robinhood wants to have a productive chain with productive products on it, right? And so you really need to tap into where the builders are. We're extremely blessed to have a strong ecosystem of builders. And so, yeah, they really just fell line in line. Like our builders are excited about getting, larger distribution, larger, user bases. And I think Robinhood's excited about having, teams building, on their chain with products that people can use.
Yeah, and I'll say like one of the big things on and the head of Robinhood Crypto is on Bankless, and he mentioned, so for everyone listening, they are not trying to cannibalize existing trading activity, even though maybe on their launch they have a little bit, but generally speaking, they are trying to open the pie up to their large retail, and the ultimate vision is, can we bring our Web2 brokerage users and say, hey, there's really exciting new innovative products that are using these kind of new rails that are blockchain, blah, blah, blah. And can we bring them into crypto? And so, they've talked about, does the brokerage and the crypto, products, do they become one day, or how do we get that crossover? Don, in your kind of point of view, how do you think this, more traditional brokerage user kind of discovers not only Robinhood crypto, but products like virtuals and the launches on their launchpad? What does that look like, do you think?
Well, I mean, Johan and his team, I think, have embraced this space from the beginning. Okay. For me, it's exciting because you can go on to like, Robinhood on the computer, and one of the first things that you see under the crypto section is virtuals, obviously our token. So I think what's great is that, retail users can get exposure immediately, just one or two clicks through that crypto tab on their website, to a project like ourselves that's building really at that convergence, right, between sorry, just a second here, between like the two spaces. I think I think it's great for the projects, right? Just because they're like it's early for them too. Okay. So right now we have Vlad pushing RWA stuff. We also saw the embracing of like the meme culture. The agent stuff, like they want workable products, right? They want stuff that people are excited about. So, I know that there's a lot of like excitement, around, let's say, the first movers, right? The cash cat, that type of stuff. But I do believe that there is a strong rotation into utility type of products, which is exactly where agents, exist. When we started the Launchpad, we had projects like AIXBT, okay? And these projects launched, like that team in particular had been building for like a couple of years. This is like before vibe coding, like before all these like
Yeah.
tools were
Right.
out there. Our initial Launchpad had a system where we called them prototypes, right? A prototype was a project that hadn't graduated, the bonding curve. Now people came in, they were excited about the hype, let's call it, around the convergence of AI and crypto. But then they were able to find projects like AIXBT that sat on that bonding curve for a while. Like that didn't run. And then all of a sudden people started using the product and realizing like, oh my God, like look at what's here. Um, and then started using it, for that wealth effect for making money. And then you saw a project like that really take off. So I think we're gonna see similar stuff happening, on Robinhood chain. Obviously, people are really excited about certain projects right now, but it is early and people are just sort of starting to use and find these products as well.
Can I touch a little bit more on some of the mechanisms and offerings you guys have? I know actually I have even tweet pulled up where you guys are partnered with, Unitree, and you're doing a lot with the robotics on that side. And so it seems like you have a lot of ecosystem support, which is why I bring that up. And here's that tweet actually. So maybe describe to us what some of these relationships look like in terms of like ecosystem support for the projects that come through virtuals.
Yeah, so I mean, the Unitree thing in particular is connected with our robotics lab called East Worlds. We saw, I would I would say towards the end of last year, like November, December, uh, a kind of a strong movement within like our ecosystem builders of moving to physical AI. So what we wanted to do is really like find ways to support them. Now, in building in physical AI, like the hardware is super expensive, right? So while like our traditional launchpad, through volume and through ACF mechanisms, like can bring in, can help bootstrap these projects. We wanted to, essentially give back to the community and create a way where if teams were building like on the software side but wanted to deploy on the hardware side, they actually had access, to hardware. So yeah, we have a robotics lab. We encourage, robotics teams that, do need access to hardware to reach out to us. We've expanded that like most recently actually into a network school. So we're working with Balaji and the network school people as well. So we have some hardware at network school also. They have a great community there, and they're also set up really well in terms of like hosting teams. So yeah, I mean we're cooking on all fronts, and the robotics is definitely something that we're leaning into. Not every physical AI team is building with a humanoid. That's something obviously we're finding out more and more. But having the relationship with Unitree is great because it can help really accelerate those builders.
And why I bring that up is specifically to highlight kind of the support, in these different verticals that you guys are focusing on. With that, we've discussed it. Robinhood's very focused on RWAs and agentic finance. Clear as day, that was talked about in the recent Earth is Flat call. When you guys think about supporting those builders that are largely migrating or launching on virtuals for specifically the agentic finance vertical or the RWA vertical, how are you guys helping support some of that ecosystem? Are you able to plug them in with Robinhood APIs? Are you able to maybe connect them with a team there? Like how do you continue to kind of build that vision that Robinhood is really leaning into and, help plug in these people that are building it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely the ability for us to help support, but the thing too is it is early, right? So we're trying to see what people are building. We're trying to follow the progress. You know, this whole Robinhood meta, it's been live for 2 weeks now, right? So someone will reach out to us, hey, can you connect me with Robinhood team? Like we're doing this. And it's like, okay, well, like, I'll follow you. Like, let me see what you're building. I want to see your traction. So I think if anything, we're almost like a bit of a filter to the team. We have daily direct communication. They're keeping an eye on a lot of projects, but yeah, it's not just like, with respect, like, if you hit up my DMs, I can't just say, yeah, here, let me just do all this for you. But
Of
yeah, I
course.
think we're definitely like a filter for them. But they're not just interested in the RWA space, which is exciting. And in the last 2 weeks, we've seen like a pretty broad range like of projects. And you know, to a user, to a trencher, like they people get interested in different types of stuff, right? And like with the way that like vibe coding works now, like they're able to accelerate and build projects like a lot quicker. Today you guys are going to have a number of like the virtuals teams on that have launched in the last couple of weeks, and it's a pretty broad range. So it's not like while they've embraced the RWA and pushed the RWA narrative, and there's definitely teams that are building in that within our ecosystem. I think what's exciting is Robinhood themselves are interested in a broad range of projects, and I think that you'll see that messaging probably evolve more, over the next weeks and months ahead.
Interesting. I think that's a good note for the team as well. Like Robinhood's paying attention, right? So
Yeah.
build in public, be transparent, make a great product, and there's a good chance they kind of pick that up on their feed. Maybe I even walk this back a little bit. And I completely forgot. We didn't even get like an intro to you, Don. Like, how did how are you related to the virtuals team? How do you stumble across them? Who are you? What's your background? We should have definitely started there. So I apologize, but maybe we can reconcile that by doing this now.
Yeah, no, all good, all good. So, a little backstory with the team, we actually started about 4.5 years ago. We started in the gaming space. I connected with the team pre-TGE, so I've been there from the start.
Wow.
Initially in a marketing position, but I've worn a lot of different hats. Official title is now chef, which kind of comes. It's a little bit of a joke. Last year I was the Swiss Army knife because I'm doing just so many different like roles within the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was with the team at the start of the year, we actually had a internal cooking competition, which I proudly won the cooking
What
competition.
did you cook?
That's a
I
remote like working cooking competition or like a live.
They just couldn't taste it. It's just plastic.
Yeah.
no,
Like, yeah,
we
dude, looks good.
no, we got together. I cooked some Italian dishes, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but the internal joke is like I'm always cooking up stuff.
Did you make the
So
pasta or store bought?
well, actually, we had some rules around the ingredients, but
gluten
yeah.
gluten free pasta.
Yeah, well, no, we had some rules around the ingredients. There are some dietary restrictions amongst the judges,
Oh
which
my
was
goodness.
super difficult. I
Yeah,
mean, like,
Italian food dietary restrictions. What
Yeah,
is
that's
that?
yeah,
good. Two
All
things
right,
that
all
don't go
right, all
together.
right, all right.
yeah. But yeah, no. I've been cooking with the guys from the start, and yeah, the team has grown a lot. We do have a global team. We have a global community. So yeah, it's exciting, but it's been an up and down ride for us. We're very, I think, blessed to kind of experiment around and have some luck around certain times. But yeah, we're not like content with what we're doing ever.
Right.
I'm really lucky to have others within the team that sort of share that same energy and passion for what we're doing. The launch pad itself now is probably on like the sixth or seventh version. And it's more modular. So in the beginning we always had like a stagnant, like, here's our launch pad, here's how teams can launch. Now we have some of these options like in anti-sniper attacks, ACF is the automatic capital formation, probably the mechanism that again, you can't push things on teams, but one of the things I try to really always highlight with teams, because it's like a real transparent way for them to get significant funding. I know that you guys will have a couple teams on, today that have successfully used, ACF to raise six figures
Would you mind
already. And
explaining
again,
that maybe a little bit in depth? Because I do love the model offerings you have, and we've even talked, we private chats, and we've even talked about like the 60-day launch model. I think is really unique, especially if you maybe even like pair that with some sort of equity model in the future or whatnot. But you guys have a few different offerings, so you've thought through this. Do you mind maybe breaking down briefly what the ACF model actually entails?
yeah, so ACF, it's automatic capital formation, right? And what we were seeing was like, when teams when their token runs, it is the most exciting time for a founder, but it can also literally be the most stressful time ever.
For sure.
Imagine you have a token, let's say it's sitting at 6 million, and then all of a sudden in 12 hours it goes up to 16 million. How do you as a founder sort of benefit from that? Are you on TG? Are you making calls all of a sudden trying to do OTC deals? What's the valuation that you're trying to do those deals at? I mean, again, most exciting, most stressful time ever. So we came up with a mechanism like when teams launch that, again, they can select this or they cannot. It's totally up to the teams. But it is something I really suggest to teams. What it does is it sets aside 25% of their tokens, and it's split into five different 5% tranches, right? So between 2 million and 10 million, 10 million and 20 million, 20 and 40, and so forth, up to 160. Now, when the tokens get into those ranges, those tokens are then cooked into the LP. Okay. So it doesn't appear as a sell. So as your token moves up, there's not a bunch of sells on the chart that are negatively affecting it. Again, from the start, these teams are selecting it. It's in the tokenomics model. So it's a very, very transparent way for teams to say, okay, once I get into those ranges, a portion of the team tokens are going to be distributed so that we can help fund the project. Now, if a team hits 10 million FDV, that equates to roughly like $350,000 for the
Wow.
team. Okay. 20 million, that's around 1.2, 40 million, around 2.6. I mean, and we've had teams, get into those ranges. Vex is going to be one of the teams, that you'll have on later this week. They got close to, I think they were like 16, 17 million.
Yeah,
Um,
they were up
Token.
there.
yeah, they raised close to a
20
million.
even, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they raised close to $1 million in a couple of hours.
And why
Now,
this is really important, and like we've talked to a lot of founders, I found founders have fallen into this trap where they almost have to become traders in a way of knowing like, when should I sell my token? Should I be buying it back? Should I be selling it? Whereas this is a great mechanism. It totally removes that kind of human element of trading and says, hey, here's a fixed schedule. It also aligns incentives with
yeah,
your token holders, because of course, like you want your token to go to 20 mil because you'll raise more capital. So that means the fundamentals of your business have improved, but also, your token holders are happy with, that valuation change. So
and
I
what
really
and what
like this.
happens too, Josh, if all of a sudden your token starts to run at 3 a.m. in the morning? I mean, I think it
Yeah.
essentially lets people sleep,
Yeah.
Right.
because a lot of times, I mean, what we always see, a lot is that there is a big difference, right, between starting a company and a product and then also managing a community around a token. Now, you add on top of that a whole fundraising mechanism around the token. It's tough. Like founders, and you'll see people on the timeline if founders are selling tokens, a lot of times almost getting like shamed for it.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
that's also hard because like founders need to bootstrap their business.
Yeah. And it
Long
shows up as a dev sell on trading terminals. It's not
Yeah.
rough.
So yeah, initially what we had, and again, we're always improving this stuff. So when we did launch, the ACF mechanism, actually one of the first teams that took advantage of it, I know is a frequent guest here is the repo team,
Mm.
right? And when we had the first mechanism up, we hadn't cooked it into the LP, so it was appearing as little cells, and we saw it how it negatively affected the chart. We'd see how things would go up, and you'd see all these little cells. And if you're looking at a chart, it's like what's that? And then you have to explain the mechanism. But anytime you try to go into that explanation, like a trader's already made that quick decision, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like cooking into the LP was a very smart move, by our team. And yeah, it's great. We're seeing teams effectively use it, to bootstrap, their business and significantly. So
This is,
yeah.
I want to ask about the capital formation, kind of capital stack, whatever we want to call it. Obviously Robinhood kind of touches all elements of it, from crypto to traditional markets. And I kind of want
Private
to,
markets.
traditional markets, private markets, public markets, everything. And what I want to understand is, like, is there a world where, that small kind of builder tests their idea out on virtuals? It then kind of is verified by the market, like, Vexes. Everyone's doing DD. They're finding out the valuations reflecting maybe the potential of their business. Hey, their business grows. They grow in market cap. Like, is there a world where it goes from just a token on virtuals to, token on Robinhood crypto, token on their main trading platform, a token in the brokerage? Maybe they're doing private raises. And then one day, maybe they're IPOing on the NASDAQ. Like, we've seen on this show, we've seen Kled go from, hey, I just accidentally launched a token on Believe, and I'm going on MCG for the first time a year and a half ago, to raising $1 billion at a $750 million valuation. Like, do we see this for some of these virtual products where they evolve over time up different parts of the capital stack into the more traditional markets? Is that possible?
I can't say too much, but 100%.
Okay.
This is a conversation we have on the show. And even about a year ago, when this conversation of like internet capital markets or ICM started to pop up, it's like, how do we really bring token holders value again for kind of supporting these early stage companies that are trying to find product market fit? And that's why I love the 60-day mechanism so much. It's like, here's 60 days, you can launch. If you find product market fit, if people like the product, if you're validated by the market, okay, maybe you take that money, run and develop it further. And if you don't find that product market fit, we try to make everyone as close to whole as possible. And
at that point, you deserve it. You deserve to be in the limelight of the American capital the markets. You deserve to be there if you have a successful business. So
yeah, I mean, I think the thing is these teams need to move really fast now. Ourselves included. If you kind of sit back, a lot of the teams, they'll come to us and they're debating, usually between like going a VC route. Some of them maybe have those strong like educational backgrounds, so that a lot of those doors are open. Like I'm based here in San Francisco, and some of the big universities have blockchain clubs. You go back 2-3 years in those blockchain club, there's a lot of founders. They can introduce, the students to people. But even going the traditional VC route, if you have those connections, like takes a lot of time, right? And VCs also like to see traction. They like to follow projects. They don't always just write that first check. And sometimes if they do, they're taking a pretty large chunk. I think what's nice about ACF is also, your valuation, right? So if a founder is coming to me and saying, oh, I want to raise $300,000, and they say I'm willing to sell 15% of my company to do it, I'm like, well, do you think if you launch a token, you think you can get to 10 million? Like, do you think there's interest out there? Because you can raise the same amount of money, but only sell 5%, right? And do it transparently. So yeah, I think being a founder is an incredible experience. It's a challenging experience. It's exhilarating. It's heartbreaking. And I think the most fun thing about my job, and I'm sure, you guys share a similar sentiment, is trying to really help these founders, whether that's capital infusion, whether that's amplifying them, giving them advice, asking them the hard questions. I think I work with so many founders that I love founders that take advice, take it to heart, that are never kind of exactly satisfied, with where they're at. And I think at virtuals, like that's one of the things like we really try to underline is like our working relationship, with a lot of these teams. And for us, generally, it's a lot of fun.
I don't want to derail us too much from the Robinhood conversation, but kind of just to like close off this token model structuring conversation. This has been a big one on the timeline. The equity versus token split. Recently, we saw with Venice, of course, they sold, I think, 5% of their equity at $1 billion valuation. And there was this whole uproar on the timeline where it's like, oh, well, what's the token's value if you're going and selling equity? I'm not sure where you guys stand on that, or where you personally see I think, this equity conversation going? Do we think after the Clarity Act, or maybe with some tweaking at some point, like there is no equity versus token, it's just a token? Or do we think tokens will maybe represent equity at some point? Or is it a mix of both?
I mean, I love what Venice did, their model.
Mhm.
I think also like it's a great example for founders out there, right? That you can launch a token and you can still later, do like an equity
Raise venture.
raise. It's hard to hypothesize with what's going on with the Clarity Act. I was with Senator Lummis last August. I'm actually going to be with her again next month. Maybe I can get some clarification. Maybe we have, more clarification before then. But I'm bullish on the space in general. I think that, if and when Clarity passes, it'll be a great thing. But it's tough. I mean, everyone wants to predict the timeline, what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think that Venice is a great model. It was great to see how they did it. I think that's encouraging for other founders, that are out there.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, kind of get us back on the Robinhood track, and we have 4 minutes here, so I appreciate your time so far. Ethan, I'm going to get to this question in a second, but before that, we talked about how you had, maybe 20 projects in the pipeline prior to this Robinhood launch. Robinhood chain launches. Some of these guys start firing off. I mean, we see early days. How's that pipeline currently looking? You guys still have more kind of loaded up, ready to go? Yeah, just general thoughts there.
It is like a exploding sausage on our end right now. I mean, yeah, I think we did that. We had 20 launches lined up early June for July. Sorry, Josh, I've got to make you laugh there. Yeah, I can't tell you how many teams right now like are pushing, and like quality teams. Like I messaged you guys this morning, even like a half an hour before we got on, and I was like, "Yo, I got this team. They've been building for like 5 or 6 months, like under the radar. Even internally, like I couldn't say anything to our team. Like socials weren't super active, but I know this team. They're real builders. They've been building for 5, 6 months. They've been basically waiting for this moment. So, like us at Virtuals, like we keep a lot of sort of ready to go stuff in our pocket. We keep that ammo right around so that like when it's ready, like we're ready to fire it off. And we have a lot of teams in the pipeline. We've had some really quality teams already launch. But yeah, it's just getting more and more packed in an exciting way, because the momentum, people are realizing what's happening on Robinhood chain right now, and they're lining up to say, hey, I've been working on this for 5 or 6 months. The time is ready.
And Robinhood is, or Virtuals is, a permissionless launchpad. How do you guys kind of separate the wheat from the chaff? Because we've seen launchpads get flack for promoting and talking about projects in the past. You guys take a very hands-on approach with like helping these teams. Again, we see it a lot with the robotics stuff and some of the AI stuff you've done in the past. How do you guys go about separating the wheat from the chaff in terms of, okay, there's going to be a lot of permissionless projects that nothing we can do about it. They're just going to be LARPs and rugs and just kind of piggybacking off the success of Virtuals and Robinhood. And then there's the ones that are actually really good billers who've been grinding heads down, like you mentioned. How do we make sure to amplify those guys and bring them to the front? Curious how you guys look at that.
Yeah, well, I will say, like, myself, I don't always get it right. As a team, we probably don't know, we definitely don't always get it right. But, we've been around the space for a while now. It's sometimes, it's pretty easy sometimes to spot a lot of red flags, around stuff.
Yeah.
So, I personally have a system. I also like work a bit like in the, let's call it like security background, space. Have an ERC that's currently in final and working on a number of others, around agent verification. So there's quite a few breadcrumbs that you can kind of always follow online. But yeah, it's tough. I also will point out that when you look at some of the biggest runners that we've had, even with like Repo as an example, Facey was a really strong project that's still around, still doing well. AIXBT, which we talked about earlier. These projects don't always just take off, right at the beginning. And like Vex, I think is a good example. Like Vex launched and it wasn't a day one just crazy, pump to 16
No, I
million.
know I faded at 400K and regret it to this day.
Don't we all?
So, I mean, that's the thing is when teams are in my DMs and saying, "Oh, we need a TGE promotion or this and that." Like my constant sort of reply is like, "Listen, it's the TGE is like literally day zero. It's going to be the push and the momentum that you have after that." Okay. And when you do have like some good momentum, don't start shooting off like your shots. Keep that ammo, in your back pocket so that like if your token just pumped 100%, I don't want to hear about a buyback, right? Like because your token's pumping.
Right.
Like, keep that for a little bit later, right? And I always encourage teams to build in the open. But yeah, if you look at some of the biggest projects in our ecosystem, they launch in a stealth way. I will say, like for the virtual detectives out there, like there's some launches right now that are under the radar that we have not amplified in any way, that we know the teams, we know the projects, like they're there. At some point, like they'll show more, but it's not just the stuff that gets retweeted through our main account or that the team's talking about. A lot of times the biggest projects are kind of the sleepers.
So it's fun you say that. Yesterday we had Whack on who was talking about Tibber and the lore there, and the sleuths in the Tibber community.
Yep.
People say Robinhood's leaving breadcrumbs, Tibber's leaving, or Ribbit Capital's leaving breadcrumbs. Even virtual, you guys are using some of the lingo and language. Any comment on Tibber? Do you guys know who launched this? Anything on that note?
I can't say anything.
You can't say anything, or you don't know anything.
I can't say anything. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
I promised Whack I would ask. He said, Don Johnson
Yeah.
has been asked this question. He's stone cold. He's not going to break. So
Yeah.
I
Can't,
took,
can't say anything. But again, it's there's a lot of builders in the space. And yeah, that's what I'll say.
okay. Well, we'll leave it at that then. We're excited. One last question, because I promised Ethan I'd ask it, and we have to jump here. Don Johnson, has been a pleasure. What projects does Virtual want to see being launched on the platform? Again, kind of goes back. We know what Robinhood really, really likes and is leaning into. You guys are big on the agentic side, robotic side, RWA side. What are you seeing coming through the pipeline that you're excited about and that you would like to see more of potentially?
So I guess Ethan's question is, what projects does Virtuals want? I think we'd like a diversity of projects, Ethan. So we're not so focused on like just RWA stuff. Um, there's a fun prediction project which you guys will have on Dom and Josh a little bit later today, that just got launched in the last couple of hours. I like the fun stuff. I mean, you see a lot of like similar type of like trading type of agents. I think it's good to have that because the benchmark just keeps getting raised in that category. But I also like the stuff that's kind of like fun and engaging. Again, we come from like a gamification, like gaming background. So yeah, I like the more, fun stuff. But again, there's a wide diversity, of everything. There's some, one category that always gets overlooked just because it's not fun, is security. We have some very, very high quality builders in the security space. Some of them projects have been launched. A couple of them have not been launched and are coming. Security is something that, again, it's not that interesting to always talk about, but it literally is relevant in every single different category. And you hear on the timeline sometimes about these big exploits, but that's kind of sometimes only the only time you hear about security, right? Is
Right.
is oh, this got taken. So yeah, I'm also like a big fan of the security projects. They don't always get the recognition, or they very rarely, I think, get the recognition that they deserve.
There it
Absolutely.
is.
We do have to jump. Don, it's been a pleasure. We like to do this on our big long segments. One question from you. If we're gonna do an honorary question from Don Johnson, the man behind Virtuals, what is one question you would like to ask all the team members that are gonna
What do you mean? Follow me? One
follow you
question.
up? Yeah, just back to back. Like for example, how big could this get is one we've heard. Like, what's the total addressable market? Is there one question you could ask these guys that you think would help you get a better understanding of the project? And yeah, honorary question.
Oh man, you guys put me on the spot. I mean, I always just want to be like walked through the project as a dummy, and I think also like what's the value really behind this if I don't have like a high technical understanding. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of these projects are a lot of the founders are very technical, and so I always like to ask, like,
What's the
walk me,
value for Robinhood retail users?
yeah, like walk me through a use case, like as a dummy, like how do I use this and how does it benefit me?
Sounds
Perfect.
good. All right, Don, thank you very much for joining
Cool.
the show.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
you,
Fun
buddy.
space, guys. Thanks so much for featuring the teams today. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Of
Cheers.
course. Chat soon.
Take
Peace.
care.
All right. That was Don. Guys, we got to keep moving. We're a little 5 minutes behind, so we
Yep.
apologize
It's all
for that.
good. We had to have the legend on, so.
Of course, and we'll get him back on, I'm sure,
Yeah.
at a later date. But guys, we got Viri from Prize Fights coming up today. This is going to be an exciting conversation. I've heard this is a good team. They're working hard behind the scenes, doing a lot of cool things. So we're going to get the scoop. With that being said, Viri, welcome
Is
to
it Viri
MCG.
or Siri?
Viri.
I thought Viri. Okay.
Like Syria.
Viri like
is
Siri.
Siri named Viri? Is that what? No, I don't know.
No.
I thought I saw you say something about Siri somewhere, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, pronounced like Siri, I guess.
Got it.
Because some people say like Viri or something like that.
All right.
Okay.
all
It's
right.
just a username.
For sure. All right. Well, with that being said, we are excited to get into it. You got, look at the chat here, blowing up. They're excited for you. A legend, they say. So let's start
A
there.
legend.
Then.
All right.
You're a legend, apparently. We're about to find out why. So maybe start there, Viri. Your background, kind of what brought you here today, and then obviously you have a token launch, which is pretty exciting. So we'll get into all that.
Yeah. So my background is in computer science. I went through university during COVID and all that. I've been like holding crypto since like 2019. I've been on chain, trading since like early 2024, mid 2024. So, I've been around crypto a little bit, and I have a computer science background. I love, building things and problem solving and stuff like that.
Got you. Okay, so you computer science background, you like problem solving. How does that lead you to Prize Fight today and developing this product and then launching a token?
Yeah. So what Prize Fight is it's a trading competition. I know Don Johnson was just on. He's awesome. I talked to him yesterday in a stream. Super cool guy. He mentioned he likes the gamification of things. So it's like a gamified trading competition where you connect your actual Robinhood brokerage account.
Wow.
So I don't know if you guys know, but in Robinhood, in the stock app, you can actually open up I can pull up here, a account that is controlled by an AI agent. So I set up, you can see it's like the agentic account up there. So I gave it $1,000, and I've been telling it to make me rich, make no mistakes.
That's
Yeah,
at 1,800, right?
Yeah.
I think 1,400 or 1,500.
14?
Yeah,
That's a
not so bad.
50% return. What time frame is that over?
1 week. I gave it some money, and I told it just kind of read the news and buy some options that expire at the end of the week, and we got lucky.
Sure.
So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a good.
What
agentic
trades did
trader.
it make? Can you give us an idea of the types of actions it took?
Yeah, actually, if you go on the website, if you
And at any moment, if you want to demo anything, just let us know.
Sure.
You can share your
if you
screen.
click Arena,
Okay.
and then there's Sherwood Nakamoto there. If you click on him,
Sherwood.
right
Right
here,
here.
top
Okay, yeah,
movers.
50%.
Yep, and then you can see his trade log. So these are pulled directly from Robinhood, from the MCP and everything. And he initially wanted to buy some calls, but changed to some puts, and they ended up working out.
Interesting. And what kind of jumps out to me about this instantly is, you're building using Robinhood. WebSocket, I think, is what you mentioned. And I'm a non-technical guy, so again, like some of this stuff goes over my head. But basically, you can plug into Robinhood. With that being said, we know Robinhood caters predominantly to this retail audience, and we're seeing kind of this hyper gamification of, I think, trading and everything just in the world in general. Building a front end that is kind of gamified, why is that important, and why does that cater to like this retail trading audience that's so quickly onboarding onto Robinhood and these neo brokers, if you will? Why is the gamification layer important?
Yeah, I mean, Robinhood, they have like the best UI for this. Everybody loves the Robinhood UI. It's perfect. It's clean. It's fast, and the gamification. I mean, you want to have fun. There's this idea that you want to get rich quick, right? When you're gambling, and so if you've got a UI that is slow or isn't exciting, you as a user, you're just not having fun.
Gotcha.
Can we talk a bit about the use case of these trades real quick? Sorry, Dom, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I want to understand, like, am I using this type of agentic trading so that I can react to news when I'm not paying attention? Let's say I work a 9 to 5 and I have to be focused at work. Something gets said on the news, the agent can essentially see that in real time and adjust my portfolio or rebalance or take another thesis direction trade. Especially with options, you get a fair amount of leverage there. Like, is that the value of kind of agentic trading? And then more specifically on the platform that you've built, how does it enable that, I guess?
Yeah, so there's a lot of benefits to agentic trading. Like you said, the agents are way faster than you are, and they're able to take in so much more data than you are. While you're reading a headline in an article, it's able to process so much more text, come to decisions faster. You see here, there's like an API based feed where agents can interact with each other and bounce stuff off of. But yeah, the benefits. So they're faster. They act when you're not around. I know I've been watching the stream. They talked about how the ACF from virtuals, they're able to raise capital when you're asleep. Um, but so right now, prize fight is the trading competition. But over time, what we're hoping to establish is that by onboarding all these agents over time, you get to see which ones are good at trading, which ones are bad. And ultimately, I'd like for people to be able to allocate capital to them. So they could be like I have it written down here, the allocation rail for agentic trading in brokerage accounts.
This is a really interesting concept, and I think, like, to fully understand the product and vision you're building out, we have to understand where you think, like, the market is headed in general. We see a lot of people say at some point, and maybe already, there are more agents using the internet and the web than actual humans. And so if you're making this gamification layer where agents are kind of taking a lot of this workload off in terms of real-time updates, adjusting positions, like, where are we headed in terms of the market? Is it going to be almost completely automated agentic finance in the future, or are humans going to be in the loop for the foreseeable future?
See, I'm a bit of an optimist anyway. I think just personally using it just this 1 week, it's been so nice. Just I bounce ideas off the agent. The agent pulls sources and kind of talks back to me. I think that agentic trading is going to go through the roof. I think I pulled the numbers. Robinhood says they have like 25 million active accounts on their stock app. All of these people are able to create agentic accounts. So certainly where we are now, it's going to grow. And that's what we're trying to capture some of.
Yeah, agreed. It's pretty crazy. Pepe has a really good question here. Does Prizefighter, and I want to understand the mechanism behind this, does Prizefight have its own prompt for agents, or does the person have to submit their own prompt to make money? I think what this comes down to is, is there a great trader mind that has to go and sit through and help this agent really understand how it works, what it likes to trade, etc., or are there going to be preset, like predefined,
Yeah, that is a great question. So we have 3 different presets, but it's completely editable. The preset I use, I literally told it, pick a bullish or bearish stance and buy some options for the end of the week. So I mean, the agent does most of the thinking. Obviously, your prompt, if you have a different trading strategy, that'll change. But I really don't think you have to be a genius to make some money.
With this, we know a lot of models have bias, right? Based on what they're trained on, based on the data that they've ingested, they can they have bias for certain things. Does that affect, I guess, the outcome of these trading agents? How do you go and find a model that's going to be decentralized, uncensored, maybe where its opinions are completely based in, I don't know, not only fundamentals, but also to ration, like, what's the growth of this? How big could this get? What's the market's operating in, etc.?
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed is that the agents see the market, differently than, as us as traders do. like the agent sees the headlines of like war in Iran, we knew that those headlines used to move markets a lot, especially when the fighting first broke out. But nowadays, not so much. It was
Right.
the same with the tariffs. Whenever there's tariff headlines, it would move, and nowadays not so much. So I think us as humans now, we have the edge there, and we understand more of the behind the scenes stuff, whereas the agent just plainly sees headline action. And I think that'll get better as time goes on. I'm also not like an expert in the building the perfect agent to trade. I know Virtuous has a ton of like different trading agents, and I'd love to talk to some of them to onboard their specific agents, and maybe bring that to more of the Virtuous community.
I also want to touch on competition. I appreciate that answer, by the way. There's going to be a lot of people competing to capture this market for agentic trading. Even Robinhood probably specifically will lean into this a lot more as we're seeing. How do you guys build a moat around your offering to make sure, okay, we know agentic trading is going to happen in all these different places, but we want to make sure our front end is the most fun, it's the most interactive, it's the most gamified, it's the most informative. How do you guys manage to do that and build the moat around this business so someone like Robinhood doesn't just, abstract it out to themselves?
Yeah, so we are the first like project built directly on Robinhood brokerage accounts, outside of Robinhood themselves. And ultimately, over the long term, we do want to be not just the game and the competition, but also the source of benchmarks for which agents are useful, which ones are going to make you money, which ones are you're better off trading yourself. So that's the goal long term, is to become that benchmark. And with it being like such a gamified experience, there's so much. You can have so many changes. You can have like long term seasons. Right now we're doing weekly. You can have careers, like reputation, special events, private events, stuff like that are pretty fun.
Got you.
We have a question here. Can I make my custom trading agent on prize? We also have maybe a request for a demo. Is there a way that you can quickly show us how a user might start up, or
The onboarding walkthrough.
Yeah, the onboarding. Here, am I able to share my screen?
Yes. If you bottom middle, click that plus, share a tab or a window, and we'll bring it up when you're ready.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, this is good. It should give people a good practical understanding of exactly what the platform is when they see it here with the demo.
I'm gonna have to do it in incognito mode because I already have an agent attached here.
Good to see you, Pepe. Welcome back to MCG. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, you can watch on YouTube, youtube.com/@MCG_live. Also, all the recordings are there as well. So
there we go. Got it.
All right. I'm going to bring it up. You ready?
Yep. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So all you have to do is connect wallet. And then
if you can zoom in a little bit, that would be phenomenal. Thank you.
There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you'll be able to connect your wallet here. You can name your agent. You can see here the brief is basically the prompt. We've got a few presets here. And then also when you come down to copy prompt, it's not going to work because I don't have a wallet connected. But inside of that full prompt is like all your API information, so that your agent can go to the locker room and do their trade logs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's super easy. All you do is you name your agent. Right now entry's closed, so registration is from Friday's close to Wednesday, and then the trading is Monday to Friday, normal market hours. But yeah, you have your entry fee that you pay. That entry fee goes to the prize pot and is shared by the winner or the winners of the season. But yeah, you just you enter and then connect. There will be a button that says connect Robinhood account. You'll sign in. Prize Fight has its read-only access to only your account information. So we don't see any of your personal information, your name or any of that stuff. It's just your account balance, your trades. Your agent itself is able to place orders. Yeah, super simple. You just paste this into basically Claude or Cursor, wherever you run your agent out of.
Can I ask how long you've been working on this and what kind of sparked the idea to, motivate you to build this?
Yeah, so it's been about 2 weeks now. The first prototype was, much simpler. But I'd say the hardest part is there's no documentation, for connecting your Robinhood brokerage account to an agent outside of, say, Claude or something. So I think that's the reason why nobody's done it, is because it does take a little bit of poking around.
So how do you break down this friction barrier then? Obviously, we want to make sure this finds PMF. We want to make sure it finds the right users. So you have to have some sort of go-to-market strategy here. And I think you've diagnosed, I think, some of this as friction just to, to do this. How do you get rid of that friction, abstract that out, and make this, accessible to everybody?
Yeah, the hope is that the money incentive, is enough to get people here, because right now, you can connect your agent. Because we're so new, there's not very many users. So if you're able, to trade and outperform the market even the slightest, you're going to get paid, right? And so hopefully that's the incentive, is that there's money to be made. The traders, the gamblers are going to show up.
Got you. Question here from Crypto Jones: is it limited to spot trading, or are perps and prediction markets on the table? Yeah, what's the extent of this?
Yeah, so right now, out of your agentic account, you can trade stocks, so spot, and options. And then currently, I believe Robinhood tweets about this all the time, but they're enabling crypto pretty soon. But I believe it will just be spot. I'd imagine in the future that they do add at least perps to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Okay, I want to talk a bit about the token, right? You launched the prize token, thinking behind that model you launched with, and like where it kind of plays into this entire ecosystem.
Yeah, so we really want to focus on the value of the token, making sure it does have utility and it's not just a token that does nothing. So right now, the token's utility, when you enter to the competition, you pay your entry fee. That goes to the pot. The pot gets shared to the winners, and then not currently, but we are going to scrape some of that and burn it, to remove some supply. But certainly just make sure that there's ongoing buy pressure. There's incentive. There's money to be made. You have to buy the token if you want a chance to win the money. And so that's where we come up with that.
Got you. I want to kind of move directions here as we're about to get towards wrapping up, and talk about roadmap, evolution of the product. Again, it's been 2 weeks, we're early stages, so maybe it's tough to map 6, 12 months out. And I think it's even difficult to do these days with how fast things are moving in terms of just like agents and, the development of products. With that being said, what does the roadmap look like, and where do you kind of see this product evolving over time?
Yeah, so I came prepared. I wrote down a bunch of notes. So in the short term, we are like the competition, right? And so short term, we're going to be running fun events, trying to onboard more users. Medium term, we're going to be adding, as soon as Robinhood adds crypto support, we'll have, you can trade crypto out of your brokerage account with your agent. One thing I want to explore is trading tokenized stocks, because currently the agentic accounts are only open for US citizens. So I'd like, if, say we have these agents that have a proven track record of being profitable, that we have a system where on chain we can copy trade those agents' accounts using the tokenized stocks on Robinhood chain to bring access to even more people. And then long term, I want to explore allocating capital to those agents, and once we have the proven track record for them.
Got you.
Can I, sorry, I don't know if we
Joe.
tapped into this, but just traction. Do you have like a few testers, or what stage kind of are you at so far? I know it's been only a couple weeks, but I mean, if you're kind of just still onboarding some of those Robinhood users, what does that look like? What does traction look like?
Yeah, so right now, it is, because you can only have one agentic account on your account. It's me, and then I'm going around asking all my friends, hey, sign up. And to the people watching, if you want to sign up, if you're in the US and this is something you're interested in, sign up. We've got a Discord URL in our website. Join the Discord. I will send you $100. Put it in your agentic account, and I will fund your first $100.
It's not
bad. Whoa!
I'm giving $100.
$100 call to action on the stream right now. Dom, do you think we could pull this up? Maybe the Discord link on his here. I'll see if I
Yeah,
can
and
find
what
it.
did you the best way to do this is get into Discord, create an account, and you'll maybe send it to their wallet.
Yeah. Yeah. Either reach out to me on Discord is probably just the easiest because I'm right there. And yeah, I'll send you $100. Put it in your account and see if you can out trade Sherwood Nakamoto 50% in a week. That's hard.
That is difficult, but that's an awesome incentive here. So all you guys that are in the chat, go ahead and yeah, take the offer, man. Why not? Look at that. Okay, so this is the website. Where can we find the Discord here?
Right at the top.
Top right by Connect Wallet.
Okay. There you go. There it is. You guys see it. Duck Squad has one question, which is, I think, relevant here. And of course, shout out Duck. He mentioned the winner would sell the pot, I guess, adding a lot of sell pressure for the token. Any solutions? And
Yeah.
I think we're still in the early ideation phases here.
Yeah, this is something that I've thought about. One thing that we have is if you are like going to sell the token, I will buy it from you using, we've got the trading fees, like the treasury and all that. I'll buy it from you at least in the beginning stages with the USDG. But ultimately, the idea is that all of the trading fees or all the entry fees fund the pot. So there's ongoing buy pressure, and I'm removing some of the supply from that when it gets distributed. So it is a net buying versus selling. Then also, if you're if you're a user and you believe in the product and enough that you're here and you're trading, I would think that these people, especially in the beginning stage, see the value in the token and the appreciation of as of the coin as like the future value.
Got you. What about the business model here? Obviously we see a lot of these front ends, they take a small basis point fee off the top. What's the business model for you guys? Could you break that down?
Yeah. So the idea currently, we take nothing because we're just trying to get people onboarded. But fees from the midterm stuff that I had mentioned. I'd like people to be able to bet behind some of the agents. I'd like them to be able to copy trade using the tokenized stocks. So we would take just fees off of that.
Got you. All right, very, very good. Josh, anything you want to close off with? Obviously, guys, you got the call to action. Anything you want to close off with here, Viri?
I just wanted to thank you guys for having me on. Thank the virtuals guys. They're super, super helpful, super professional, all of the people I've talked to. But yeah, guys, if you're interested in our product and you're in the US and you can sign up, I'll send you $100.
There we go. And if you're on TikTok, I know Robinhood, like traditional brokerage, has a lot of traditional social media presence, people talking about trading zero dated options, what they shouldn't probably be trading, and all this kind of nonsense.
That's what I told my agent to do.
But if you're a content creator, like this is right up the alley. Like make your agent a funny name, get that $100 and then go start trading and posting on TikTok. And actually, Viri, maybe that leads into a bit of a product idea if you don't already have this, but do you have a referral system that you can kind of create content and your friends can, sign up their own agents? I feel like there's a viral loop here.
Yeah, not currently, but I just wrote it down. That is a good idea.
Add it to the roadmap, add MCG there, so there we go.
There you go. Cool. You'll be the default code if somebody signs up without it.
Send the liquidity flow our way. Love it.
With that, I think we just gotta close with go-to-market strategy. Of course, like you have this big vision and we understand, okay, agentic economy, we're heading this direction. People want to gamify this. It needs to be more fun. Cool, we're on board. How do you get it there? I guess like practical next steps from from point A, we've been in production now for 2 weeks, ideation phase, to, all right, everybody in the world's going to know about this. We're going to make this huge and massive. Curious those steps.
Yeah. So the first thing we did, I dusted, like you can see we have like 27,000 holders. Dusted all of the virtuals ecosystem holders and stuff like that with the coin. You can actually go on like FOMO and see the holders, and you can see where they received it and then bought more, right? So get some eyes on us. I'm hoping that, we get a few seasons under our belt, people start seeing money's being made, and, it creates like that viral loop.
Right. All right, very good. Well, we'll be following you. Excited for prize fight, what you guys can cook up. So thanks so much, Gary.
Cool. Thank you guys so much.
Of course. Chat soon. All right.
Wow. Just pause for a second. So I really, really like this. And guys, we're seeing it. This is the vision. All right. Here's a crypto product. We've seen trading competition type products before in crypto. So not necessarily new there, but what is novel here is that this is aimed at the Robinhood brokerage, the app kind of audience. And, I can guarantee you of those tens of millions of users, some will definitely, try this out. And I think one of these products, now you have the distribution of Robinhood, guys. Like it's interesting. This is so fascinating. Because if something like this takes off, I think it takes off in a big way.
Yeah, look, I don't know. And again, maybe I'm just not tapped into the Robinhood eco. I'm talking even pre blockchain. But have people been building on Robinhood like for years now, or it like this has got to be pretty beneficial to Robinhood just seeing all the builders that are coming on building tech stacks on top of Robinhood?
I'm not a Robinhood user, so Robinhood Canada just released, so maybe I will be. But yes, I don't know. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a good app. It's a good app. I don't use it frequently, but I do definitely have it. Nonetheless, let's do it. We got Axel coming on here. This is an exciting one. Truly RWA, bringing commerce on the blockchain. I'll actually show you the website here real quick before I even pull them up, so you guys get a feel for it. But yeah, so blockchain. Axelot is building Raxel. Okay, lots of tongue twisters.
And this is one of those first launches on out of virtuals on Robinhood. I remember looking at this when it first launched, so it's OG for sure.
An open source agent runtime for private on-chain commerce. We recurse until privacy is simple. Okay, these are a bit of big words, so we're gonna have them come up and break.
We recurse until privacy is simple. I like that.
All right. Without further ado, I should say, Drew, how are we doing?
Meow meow. Hello, everyone.
Wow. I think that was the first time we've been greeted.
I've never been greeted with a meow, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
that's what happens. You get good at coding, and you either get into the socks or you get into the cats.
There we go.
So no in between.
What about that little, animal you got on your screen here? Is that what that sounds like?
Indeed. This
it is
exactly what an axolotl sounds like. So if you guys don't know much about the axolotl, it's like a very cool animal that is from Mexico City.
Nice.
It is the only animal where I don't do this, but you could crush its spinal column up to 5 times and it would regrow back. That's like a big deal because like if you're gonna make robotics or like a cyborg thing, regrowing nerves is like very important. But the thing is their lake in Xochimilco is within Mexico City, and it's polluted as heck. So they're losing their ability to regenerate because of this. Either way, neither here nor there.
This is some local lore, right? To Mexico City.
Yeah, exactly.
Parts of the world, they'll have like the mythology creature in the woods or something, and as a kid, you're told not to go into the woods because that creature will like come and get you. Is that kind of what Axel is to people in Mexico City?
Well, yeah, it's symbolic. It's also off of Julian Cortázar. Have you ever heard of Don Quixote? Wrote a poem about this where he basically went into an aquarium and wrote a poem about an axolotl and then kind of saw himself as the axolotl. But that's cool. Either way, that's in the Xochi.fi white paper, and it's kind of like the idea of building your Gundam and building software that can fail. That's why we chose Elixir as the language, and that's why we chose axolotls, because it's a lot like us. It can fail, but it's fault tolerant, which is kind of different. This is different than how Hermes works. It's different than how OpenClaw or Claude Code even works, which it's a single threaded process.
Got you. So maybe we can start there with your background, even before we get into like how this works. So Drew, what kind of brought you into the field? Obviously, we saw the excitement surrounding Robinhood. Had you planned on this launch with the Virtuals team prior to I guess all the launching and excitement from Robinhood? Where did you guys kind of start? Give me the early lore here.
Yeah. Axel is a team of Giga devs that we self-collected while I was working at Blockdaemon and LidoDAO. I was the protocol specialist at LidoDAO, protocol specialist at Blockdaemon. So these are the people that stood up the compliance program, the people that made LidoDAO's front end. These are the people that run all of these chains for Blockdaemon, but they don't necessarily want facial recognition. So what we do is, how we've survived up to the date is these projects that you see, we go up to foundations, we build stuff for them for free. We show up day zero with value. We run nodes for them. They tend to like us and they delegate stake to us. So we started as a staking company. Before that, I was an inventor. I used to build inventions for nuclear submarines for GDEB. And I would fix anything from the toilet up to the reactor. I wouldn't touch the reactor, but so we're pretty multidisciplinary. The team is a little bit further down, but all together, we're essentially just trying to imagine if CalSwap and Railgun had a baby and it was agent native and it is on virtuals. That is the long and the short.
Okay, interesting. CowSwap and Railgun had a baby. Now we've had Railgun on the show, obviously protocol level privacy. I do love what they're doing here. Could you maybe, I guess, give us a dumbed down version of, what Axel actually is and what you're building here, so everyone can understand the full picture?
Yeah. So basically, Axel is the labs behind our main project, which I will post to you. It is completely open source. Agentic runtime. So what does that mean? You can click this link here. Is the GitHub. But essentially, it's kind of like a more native, more fault-tolerant version of Hermes. When you build this, you can basically choose from the packages how you would like to build your multi-surface app. So maybe you just want an agent that just trades. You can have that for free. Perhaps you want just the agent and you want to keep your data private, but you also want to have an integration for your watch and Telegram. We have packages for this, and you can just string them together a la carte. You don't have to buy into anything. That's free forever. MIT, and we built this exchange with it. And this exchange basically uses a solver and intents. So you don't pay any MEV or anything. You off-chain, you tell me what your intent is, or your agent tells the Raxel agent on the virtuals ACP what your intent is. The agent acts kind of like the lemonade stand storefront, forwards it to the solver network, and then it gets handled either publicly or privately on Xochi.fi, which is the actual venue.
Could you give us a practical example of this, like working in real time?
Yeah. So you can see this is a simulated transaction that we have on our page, and this is going from base to Arbitrum. So it's just signing an intent, and you're saying, I want to send 1 USDC from base to Arbitrum. And we solve it and settle and give basically kind of like Western Union for crypto in a way. We take the intent on one chain, deliver it on the other, then pull your funds, and you pay 8 bips.
Interesting. And why is this important?
Yeah. So when you use Railgun, for instance, you would say, well, I'm private. That is true. And they do have, to an extent, a way of hiding your identity, but your trade is still public. It still interacts with a contract. You still are subject to MEV to an extent. When you use intents, you're basically saying, you're just expressing your intent off chain to a solver, and it's just a peer-to-peer transaction. So there's no MEV. So that entire vector is taken out. So that's essentially the value offering.
So, trying to understand like the ecosystem here. You have like, I think like, is this one product within a ecosystem? You kind of describe yourself as a lab here. There's a lot of pieces. You have tons of different networks. Like, do you want, like, do you think people should think of this as like a lab or an ecosystem or a specific product or a suite of products? Like, what is kind of like how you describe, Axel, if you were Raxel, sorry.
Yeah. So Axel is just the labs behind the Raxel agent. Raxel just stands for recursive Axel. It's just the agent. It's us, the people building it open source for you. You can see there's multiple projects here, and they all roll up to the end game vision of just imagine a more private version of Coinbase just made for you. That's open source. These parts that you see here actually all roll up into it. So
Right, so that's what you're trying to build, is an open source Coinbase, and these are all the infrastructure pieces that enable that on chain and across all the different EVM chains. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, and then is Raxel like, you talk about recursive Axel, is Raxel like kind of the agent that's like building this, open source Coinbase, let's say? Do I have that correct, or is the agent used in another purpose?
Yeah, that's the funny thing, is that the agent is, we literally use our own harness and runtime, and basically a Kimi 3 and light local LLM model to route this. So it is building itself in real time. And we have just enabled attribution headers, so that should start appearing on OpenRouter. So you can see us building it open. The projects on the axel.io page, we can go down them, but it's basically the agent itself, Raxel. I should probably move that up. Beside it is the Pixie bridge. Basically, we run our own nodes on all these chains, and we also run Genesis sequencers on Aztec. We made a bridge. What this enables is private L2 to L2 transactions using the cryptography from Aztec, the Baratenberg. We're contributors to Noir and all of that. This is only pending an audit, just because I expect a lot of traffic here, and I just want to be super, super safe.
So if I were to summarize all these products, and just like, we're just trying to help people understand how all these things work together. So we are thinking through this lens of a decentralized Coinbase. These are all the foundational infrastructure pieces that make that experience possible. Now, when people think of Coinbase, they think, oh, I got a mobile app, I can go to coinbase.com and I see a UI and whatnot, and I can interact with that. Mm-hmm. Is there an equivalent that you guys are developing? Like, am I showing up to a website or this website and seeing decentralized Coinbase, or am I talking to my agent and it's interacting with all these pieces that make the experience like a decentralized Coinbase?
When in doubt, we combinate. So both.
Okay. All right, both.
So I think on one hand, in the future, the richest man in the world will just have his agent do things for him, and he will not be bothered. The idea of interfaces will just be frustrating. Right now, if you want to interact with it as a normie, you can just go to zochi.fi. Right now, we only have public settlement working, but you can click around. If you go to the white paper, it contains the entire vision, including economics and everything. But
got you. Okay.
So this is cool. This is cool.
This is important to touch on then. You said specifically, you think in the future, people are just going to go to their agents. They're not going to be bothered by interacting with front ends and UIs. Are you guys purposely maybe not trying to build the most glossy, clean, smooth front end because you believe wholeheartedly that this vision is going to be, I'm just going to tell my agent to do something and it's going to do it, and agents don't care about UI? Is that kind of the vision you guys are having internally?
I can give you a metric that will give you perspective more than I can tell you.
Well, that'd be great.
We released the UI and the job offering on Virtual's ACP accidentally for 6 hours, and we got 108,000 people trying to attempt to use it.
Wow. I thought you were going to say 108 people. I was like,
108,000 requests.
How does that even work? So like, how does that get shared around and hypothecated so quickly? Is that agents doing that? Is that humans?
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. If you go to the virtuals page, you can actually see like the job offerings and stuff. It's like in the top bar in the middle, and it's ACP. And there's like an open job market. And so agents are constantly looking at this. I mean, way more than I suspected, of course. But they, I guess, are constantly looking at this. And if you look at the Dune analytics for virtuals, they do double digit, like 30 to 50% of bases gas and like total transactions. So obviously they want to transact on chain, but they're locked on base. So we would literally be the first person to offer a job offering to allow them to bridge cross chain. This is inherently itself a moat because it's through our solver, through our protocol, and we offer relay.link like settlement within 6 seconds to 5 to 6 new chains to them on all the hot stablecoin routes. So that's why we call it an agentic dark pool, because the first customer we're going for is agents, because they will create a lot of volume. But mainly, if the game with intents is an intent surplus, so like imagine you have $10 on every chain. Eventually, once you get enough customers, there's the coincidence of wants, like CalSwap, and then you don't have to move anything and it nets out, and we just share that back to the users. But that's where you actually make a lot of the money. So you need an initial random flow. And this is obviously, the agents are perfect for this.
Okay, this is pretty insane. I think this is the conversation that needs to be had, right? Because this is the vision of the protocol. This is the direction we think we're headed in. And so I just want to like double down on this conversation. Assuming we move towards a future where agents are going to be, there's no human in the loop, or very little human in the loop in terms of just telling the agents what to do. What is that going to look like? Like, give me a practical example. And I think you already have to an extent, but I want to just like further elaborate on this vision that you guys are building towards.
Yeah, it can be extremely beautiful, very simple in practice, but it will. The idea is you come to meet the user where they're most comfortable. You can make multi-surface applications with Raxel. Maybe a very crisp example is you are a software engineer and you want to get away from your computer. You can communicate through your smartwatch to Telegram, to tell Telegram to tell whichever one of your agents what you would like for them to do. I mean, obviously that's a more developer focused one of like kind of keeping your workflows going. But we have made more specific agents such as RaxelGuard. We've made, I really like this one this guy made. We've made specific agents like RaxelGuard for people that are blind, which helps them with seeing what is in front of them and things like that. There's lots of examples of different applications. If you go to the actual Drew.foo Raxel repository, you can click the packages directory and you can kind of see how they're distributed. The end game is I will build a real life Gundam, and this is what I will use to power it and cognate it. This is the initial economy layer of it.
Yeah, and you mentioned 108,000 agents signed up or tried to basically use this when it was leaked. What does like the current state of agentic finance look like? Like why can't they do it? Why was there so much demand for this product? Because there's clearly something lacking somewhere if you guys had so much initial interest.
I think mostly is because they just didn't have agents are not first-class citizens anywhere but in this application. They can use a bridge, they can interact with a contract, but even if they do, they run the risk of having old documentations. It depends on what agent, obviously, in your harness you're using. We assume people are using a free agent bone stock without a harness. So we try to make everything like agents a first class citizen here. And there's a lot more yield off of base. You know, it's a bit confusing to tell people that one of the largest real world uses are people using USDT on Tron. It's a bit confusing, but
Is that true?
it's one of the largest ones. It's one of the most heavy stablecoin routes. So if you go to rwa.xyz, click on stablecoins, and you can kind of see the distribution of stablecoins. I forgot who said this, but one of the most cypherpunk things going on in crypto right now is the whole skullduggery of stablecoins. When you sit back and think about what it really is. So this is more of where we focus, is understanding these routes and pressure points. Like USDT was just ceremoniously offboarded from almost every centralized exchange last week or the week before. The demand for USDT hasn't gone away, but it has affected market supply. Anyway, I can go down a whole rabbit hole on this, but neither here nor there. We have just been accepted to the Ethereum subsidy program for auditing the Pixie Bridge. That'll be our next thing. All liquidity that we get from any influx from launching the job offering today goes back into the solver.
Got you. Can we maybe start gearing towards like market opportunity here, your go-to-market strategy? We talked a little bit about traction, but again, you've built all these things, so clearly there are people watching you. I'm assuming maybe some users as well. But what does traction currently look like, and what is like the market opportunity you guys are operating in? You've talked about the vision a little bit, but curious on market opportunity, the go-to-market strategy surrounding it, and then what the traction currently looks
And
like.
I'll tie in this question from Crypto Jones. Where did all the agents come from? Is there an agentic economy in the background? And maybe this is kind of ties into this.
You can answer that first, maybe.
Okay. The agent question is I'll try to delineate it. We have our own Raxel agent. Within Virtuals, they have their own basically cloud service. So when you do launch your first agent, you get like $200 in credits, which is kind of nice. You don't have to deal with that payment thing. To a certain point, that may run out of credits. It's not a heavy process, so I don't think so. What actually happens is the agent sits in the sandbox and it listens to an API. And when people send it a JSON message and 8 bips of their trade, it will either reject it, send the funds back, or forward it to the solver. What other people's agents are running on is, it may be their own hardware. It may be the Virtuals cloud infrastructure. I may be misspeaking on this one. I'm sorry. But they just see the job offering listed on the ACP market and they submit a payload there. I'll pause there and say the larger market opportunity that we see is basically FX and arbitrage of stablecoins and these payment paths. So basically what that means is, when the two largest guys in the room are fighting, how do you determine what compliance is? It's not a very simple question. And there, like you've seen with Russia and Ukraine, like there's a lot of like people stuck in the middle, and compliance is a very confusing thing. Which brings me to the final point of the final Exodia piece, if you will. It's the least sexy piece. It's the most boring piece, but it's ERC 8262. So what that is, it's a ZK compliance oracle. This is the thing that we layer on top to make FX and like a sex-like experience. Is basically for free. When you express your intent, you say, I have $1. I want to send it to there, and we'll add another layer onto this. And you're like, I want to make sure my counterparty is clean, or like that I'm not interacting with someone bad. Right now, there's a couple of ways that people are dealing with this. There's proofs of innocence and stuff, but there's viewing keys. If you have a viewing key, eventually they're going to compel you to show it. So it's kind of like a delayed compliance. Proof of innocence is cool, but if someone is not currently flagged at the time, it's not 100% valid. Essentially what this does is it takes your transaction history, and it can, in a ZK way, show across 6 to 9 different metrics that you're not a money launderer or a hacker or whatever. This was designed by our compliance person who has worked in the Pointy building and basically understands the 5-sided Pointy building and understands how compliance works at a high level. And so this was kind of their baby. This is what we will, yeah, she worked at the DOJ. But that is the high level of the direction that we're going in.
I want to understand this, I think, practically, because it's very clear, like, the team's extremely smart, right? They're looking into very novel, niche, important use cases of this technology. And I think the question becomes, like, how do we make the average person understand this and bring it to market? Because we all know, like, the piping underneath doesn't always matter to the person using it. They just want a nice experience. And my question to you is, how do we take all this stuff in your brain, the smart stuff you've been telling us about, and, like, how do we go to market with it? Like, how do we get a ton of users? How do we grow this traction exponentially?
And you're launched on Robinhood chain. So how does it relate into maybe the broader Robinhood vision as well?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So right now, the only thing left is registering the job offering on ACP. And besides that is, if they're a user, we will launch and announce the Zochify front end. And so you can use it as a user that way. It's as simple as that. You can auth in with a passkey or with a wallet. But yep. And I guess why this relates into the larger Robinhood chain is because it has its own dedicated stablecoin. You can't get USDC or USDT on Robinhood right now. Like, it's like physically not allowed. But yeah, that's a specific route that we service, and that chain has been exploding in growth. It seemed like a no-brainer if you know about, like, the difference in size of Robinhood versus Coinbase. And it's a real commitment from their side, because there have been attempts of Robinhood doing this before, but it wasn't quite as convincing. They seem more all in on this chain, obviously. So yeah.
So it seems like your team, again, very smart, very thoughtful. So it probably wasn't on a whim you guys decided to launch a token. What was the thinking behind tying a token to, and is a token tied to the lab or the Raxel product specifically?
Yes, sir. So the token is tied to the Raxel agent and the Raxel agent's revenue. So the lemonade stand that's on the ACP. So 8 bips per transaction gets taken, goes back into buying the token, burning the token.
So you really intend for this to be fully, are you guys keeping a cut off the top of that, or the entire 8 bips is just going towards token?
That goes towards the token. We have some trading fees streaming in, but we're just using that to stand up the solver liquidity and the pay for small API things. It's actually surprisingly one of the largest. It's been very reliable. The trading revenue fee. There is more of the take rate depending on your level of privacy. With Zochify, you can get either a cheaper. You can choose to be more private, and there's a larger take rate up to 40 bips, or you can have it be public and have it pretty commensurate with other public exchanges.
Drew, you mentioned that you've done a lot of cross-chain L2 to L2 kind of work. So if I'm an agent on Robinhood, or I have an agent in the Robinhood app and I've enabled it, and it needs to make a trade, is it routing liquidity or the trade both on just on Robinhood chain, or is it going through broader DeFi?
It goes through whichever chain you want to go to. We don't do as many like same chain swaps. It's more about cross chain swaps. So you can do like USDC to USDT or USDT to USDG. We take kind of stable coins alike. And yeah, because like you wouldn't be able to trade it to any other stable coin on Robinhood chain. We kind of more of just service that stable coin route.
Yeah,
Even-
so you're bringing all of basically DeFi's plumbing to Robinhood chain, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a massive rise in USDG for obvious reasons. How much of that transaction, I think, volume have you guys seen? Has traction been pretty decent, or just kind of curious to close on that maybe?
Yeah. Right now, we've been getting a lot of interest. What we are waiting for the agents is today launching the agent offering openly on the market. We have everything settling, and we have just B2B consumers right now, some large names that I can't mention their names, but some very big customers using it on the B2B side.
To be announced soon?
Yes.
Days, weeks. There's a rule of the show is if you start talking about it, you got to finish.
It is the rule. No.
Well, that's a cool rule.
All right, goes on mute. That's good.
All right. Well, this makes a lot of sense. It's been a fun conversation. We do have to wrap here, but it's interesting, and I think we'll be following you very closely. Again, it's the
maybe
vision.
One last question. Just any calls to action for the audience. What do you want people to do? Do you want people to set up agents using your product? What's the call to action?
Yeah, if you guys follow Axel_IO on Twitter, we have all of our updates coming from there. See, look at that. That's an easy follow. And we have the token address and the Telegram. We will actively respond to any of your questions or comments, concerns in the Telegram chat 24/7. And that's it.
All right. Well,
Easy as,
this
simple
seems
as.
really impressive. You guys and your team seem really smart. You guys have done a lot for DeFi, so thank you. Appreciate the public goods work. So
Always.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
See you, Drew. Chat soon. All right. Yeah, I think that one, like, it took a little bit to understand because it is clearly like big brain stuff. I think ultimately what it comes down to is like a lot of people don't really care about the piping underneath. They just want it to work and want it to work well. And they're doing all that piping, they're doing all that work. I think we got through, right? I think I really started wrapping my head around it towards the end, towards the middle. But yeah, very interesting, very smart team, like you mentioned. And if they can deliver, on
everyone on here trades tokens, but they don't think about the underlying plumbing. And there's like some very smart people who, over the last decade, have built that on Ethereum. And yeah, this is seems like one of those groups. So very impressive. If their volumes, the metric I think to watch is definitely the volumes, and I'm keen to understand. Maybe there's someone in the community that knows where like we can monitor that, because they are taking those 8 BIP fees and basically buying back the token is what I understood. So a little bit of a flywheel there to keep note of.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Very interesting because again, yeah, like you mentioned, USDG is the only thing supported on Robinhood right now, and if people are transferring from all over the place to get that, and they're keeping basis points, I wasn't clear if the BIPs are coming from just the agent product or even the bridge as well that they're enabling.
Yeah.
So
keep an eye.
Keep an eye. Yeah. That's.
I mean, at 1.7 mil, like there's like that's the market cap. Like a lot of these, you think of what like CowSwap and stuff. Like these are $1 billion products in other places. So really, really, really early. And nonetheless, future, next stream, future present.
Yeah. All right.
Man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. Was on Solana, now on Robinhood. Seems that his vision aligns with them. I know Amrish doesn't make quick decisions. He thinks through things very tastefully. So getting the story here, this is a really exciting one. Obviously, we've had Amrish on the show plenty of times. You guys know the journey by now if you tune into MCG. So really crazy jump here. We're going to see what his thinking is the direction they're headed in, what they're building, metrics, traction, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get a full idea. Whatever. We're going to get the full idea of Karma here. So with that being said, Amherst, friend of the show, welcome back. How are you
Welcome
doing?
back.
Great time to be
Yes.
alive, eh?
Indeed. For you guys,
Congrats on
specifically.
your launch too, your relaunch on Robinhood, by the way. That looks like it's gone quite well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, for me, it's like, thank you for congratulating, but it's just starting. It feels like the finish line, I did my first step. So,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, it's amazing you're back because we've had you on the whole journey. Notoriously, I think the second time you came on the show, you were in the apartment, nothing in the apartment whatsoever except for the laptop and the mattress on the floor just grinding. And this is
Correct.
this is what it comes down. This is why we have MCG. We want to document the journey. And now
Bro
you're here
wearing
today.
quarter zip in Dubai. Love it.
Yeah. Are you in Dubai? You are, right?
I am. Yeah, I am in the same apartment. This time I do have a bed. I do have like a setup, right?
We're moving
But
up.
Yeah. But that's market validation, right? I made my way up. So no, it's amazing.
Correlated to platform transaction fees on Karma wallets. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, if you followed me on Twitter, I have not missed a week since I started building a year ago. So it's not necessarily, something else. I'm going all in. All in, baby.
So let's start there because I remember our first conversation. The core MCG audience obviously knows the X Believe days and your journey very well. But for those that are new, the Robinhood, the virtuals community, like explain to them what Karma's journey was on Believe and then the token, your relaunch here.
Yeah, I can imagine, for a lot of people, I'm a new face, right? But the reality is I've been around for quite some time now. In fact, if you can, scroll all the way down, which is quite some streams, you can indeed see it from the beginning up. Just like one TLDR about me, I've been building in the Web 2, space for quite a while. I've been doing, I've got experience in the e-commerce scene for a couple of years. After that, I built SaaS companies, and then I kind of accidentally came into the Web3 space and decided how retarded the space can be sometimes to stay here, because I do see a vision here. So over a year ago, indeed, there was a launchpad on Solana called Believe, which got quite some attention. The founder of it was Ben Pasternak, has been in the news a lot, and it feels so good to now finally be able to speak. It's like I'm free,
Yes.
So I mean, this guy, he was not communicative at all. And a quick shout out to Don, but also the other Don, from Virtuals, because these guys are everything that Believe wasn't. So Believe, the idea was pretty simple. Everyone can launch a token, and so I accidentally did. I was at the time just experimenting in my free time, built literally a copy of Typeform just as a challenge for myself to see how fast can I build an MVP in a weekend in this case. Launched a token for it, and then it got more attention than I anticipated on. And then at first I thought this should all be bots or something, and it's probably going to be gone soon. But it didn't. And then I decided to, instead of 99% of people do here, to, kind of experiment and read more into what's crypto about. Where do I see this going? Then went all in on building an actual company, where it makes sense, where you generate fees on chain. I do believe that every crypto app should have a token, which is, something we can dive into in a second. And so I did. So I basically built this company called Karma from scratch. There you go. I love it. You've got that.
Dom, here, let's expand it, because you started as a neobank and then you've pivoted to a trading app, actually. And I'm going to, sorry, Dom, here. I'm going to try and there you go, Dom. You're full screen now. Can you just show it? So our Dom here is actually a Karma user. I will park the token side of the Believe stuff, and we'll leave that for the token part of this. But let's talk a bit about this product here. So how did you go from neobank really quick to then this product here?
Yeah, I think this is very important to understand also going forward, for everyone that will be following Karma. I've got this approach in doing business that comes from Web 2, which is pretty normal, and that is, finding proper market validation and making data-driven decisions. This means that you test a lot. And, this can be perceived as pivot on pivot on pivot, but at the end of the day, it's all for the best. It basically means that you're testing as many things as possible, and then on the data, deciding whether you proceed with it or not. So that kind of shaped the way, and that's how I ended up here. So the first thing that I did is indeed, see like, okay, where is the money made, on chain, completely bluntly, right? Who are the big fee earners, so to say? And these were all service providers. And so then you go a step further where it's like, I was already thinking about, this is all fun and stuff, but this is crypto, right? We're talking about cats, meme tokens, whatever. How can we bridge this to the real world? And this is exactly around the time that, Stripe acquired Bridge for, I think, just over, I don't know the exact numbers anymore. I forgot it, but because it's a while ago, but, quite some money. And all of these institutional funds started pouring literal funds into bridging. And so neobanking was kind of the first thing where it's like, oh, this is interesting, right? This makes sense. This is the first kind of RWA kind of indirection where you turn your crypto into a real world asset. So that's kind of where it started. And Karma was one of the few first ones on Solana.
And you were doing like, I could send basically my USDC to an address, then it would be converted to an IBAN and show up in a bank account, is basically the version 1 of Karma.
Correctly. It's a virtual account. You send money to it, it gets converted to crypto, the other way around. It's the most basic version of a ramp, but then indeed kind of, put into a simple AI, because crypto is pretty complex if you're new to it. And it's more and more funds are flowing into crypto right now, which means, builders are building better UXs. You've got Robinhood chain now. Would love to talk about that because it's great. But the UXs get better, right? And so I come from a outsider's perspective. I step into crypto and I'm like, this needs to be as simple as possible. So just like you said, exactly that functionality, but as simple as possible with like 2 taps instantly in your account.
And is that in the version 2 of what you've created here? Let's talk about the next version of Karma here. Is the neobanking functionality still in this? And then what is this next version here of Karma?
Yeah. So I think it's important, like, it's always Bill Gates, no, not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs actually said this once in a speech. You can't connect the dots looking forward. And maybe a few words are a bit wrong, but you always can connect them looking backwards. And if I look backwards, the credit card launch, the banking, like virtual accounts kind of functionality was kind of needed to discuss why we chose Robin Chain in the first place, which it's a crucial part. Again, it literally turns a cat into being able to pay at the grocery store, right? So that was the like kind of first thing, but then you've had some project like Avicii, which proven to where they're a proof of concept in my opinion, where it's like, hey, token holders can be part, like it's beneficial for a crypto super app to launch a token, so to say. It creates a real community feeling, and then shortly after, you've got FOMO coming up, which recently raised 75 million at a 550 million valuation, right? Which for me is also, like, as a business owner, proof of concept, right? It's like, okay, it's market validation. So the second version indeed kind of tapped into that part. Again, just testing as much as possible, right? And so the SocialFi kind of aspect came into it. I mean, Don, you're a user. You can see in the middle of the app, you've got like a feed. You see all of the activity of all of the users. You can follow people. People make calls, etc., etc. But then again, there, I just kind of like speed run through it. It's like, okay,
maybe we pause there. Dom, how do you use the app? What kind of gets you excited about Karma now? And I'm going to add you to the main spot here.
Putting me on the spot here. I'll tell you though, what's interesting about Karma, I think specifically, and it's multifaceted, right? But generally, I think the direction we're headed in for crypto apps is largely whoever can provide the most value that leads to the person clicking the button and making the transaction should be rewarded. You guys see my feed, you guys see MCG. We're deeply technical with like, how can we provide actionable insight for the market to trade valuable products that are maybe slept on, undervalued, or maybe it's a terrible product and you should be shorting it, right? Like we're here to kind of expose on MTG. And I'm seeing this trend start to emerge, Karma being one of them, where it's like, okay, can someone get on the social feed, provide a strong thesis and actually be rewarded for it rather than, kind of doing it for free on Twitter? So can you be the last click that kind of it goes towards that transaction? We see this in, e-commerce, right? This is
last click attribution. Yeah.
Right. This is a standard in other markets. So why is it not the same for traders? Are you driving that trading volume? And if you are, you should be rewarded for it. And I think that's what's pretty exciting. And I think ultimately the apps that provide this, like the Karmas, like the Dapitals, there are a few, trying to iterate on this, are going to get the lion's share of the rewards here, especially on the social side, because like social signal is one thing, but a lot of that signal is largely noise and farming and LARPy. So I think ultimately we get to that end state where, you have to provide the value that's going to lead to the click.
So Dom, are you trading on so you see this as a trading app? I understand that, but there's also the social file element where are people following you on Karma and then you're publishing a one-line thesis and then placing that trade? Like what does the actual trade flow look like?
Yeah, and probably a better question for Amrish, to be honest. But I'm not using Karma a ton. I've tried to write some theses, and I know Amrish, we talked about this. How long can you make it? Can you add theses if you don't hold the token? We've done some iteration on the back end. And so I would use it simply to, publish a thesis. If people follow it and trade based on that thesis, I get paid. And again, I think that's the direction we kind of need to head in, is kind of giving some of that rewards back to the user.
So I don't want to take to Amrish here then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the last words that Dom used there, it's like, getting paid instead of all the other apps where you're getting farmed, so to say, because the truth is a lot of the apps do, right? So yeah, I mean in any other scenario, we're doing the exact same thing as a lot of other apps do. I mean, Robinhood announced I think back in 2014 already that they're very interested in looking into the social aspect as well. So that's nothing new, right? But doing a creator revenue sharing program like, for example, X has, where you're getting full-time paid for tweeting and LARPing, so to say, why not get paid for being correct, doing the correct thesis? So that's kind of the layer there. But in any case, yeah, I would love to tell now, like, that's all nice and stuff, but why Robinhood and why I'm so excited to be doing, taking these next steps.
And yeah, even to add to that, because we do want to hear why you're excited for Robinhood, and we're seeing what Vlad's talking about in the push towards agentic finance, the push towards RWAs. Like, it's a very like, to be early to Robinhood is important, which is why I think we keep getting the comparison, the FOMO of Robinhood. And maybe that's not even completely accurate, but I kind of want to understand, why were you so quick to make this move and position for like what Robinhood's building?
Yeah. So first of all, I think the perception of us being quick, it's good to have, but at the same time, the truth is it wasn't at all. The truth is, doing a proper migration, going back to, just like unanswered questions, having those addressed as well. Yeah, I can literally show you. This is my chat with Ben Pasternak, right? Like, there's absolute zero support, right? So, like, it's, if I'm texting my ex, if I scroll all the way, I can show you all of it. But it's like, it's zero support. And so I started talking with Virtuals quite a while ago, and this was actually to explore cross-chain, towards EVM, as I'm getting more advanced and seeing the benefits of building on top of EVM over Solana. Solana is great for speed, right? I think you can leverage both tools. So I was already talking with the team about Base, and then they were closely working together with the Robinhood team. And then, before they launched their mainnet, we already talked about, what Robinhood going to about, et cetera, et cetera. So I was kind of prepared before, it went live, it went to mainnet. But yeah, I the same, to answer that question, I had the same perspective. I don't want to risk going to another chain, right? And then it being a dead chain, and that's me, right? I've been building for a year. I want to really take this somewhere. I do realize there are changes to be, that they're required to make, and preferably you do that once, and that's it. So yeah, we talked about that. And then once, Robinhood launched, I started to see more like, what they were doing, really just focusing on the RWA space primarily.
And
where,
maybe this
RWA
leads into Crypto Jones's question. Who's your target user and why should they use Karma? Are we targeting Robinhood users? Because they have their own brokerage app. So how do you think, or their own crypto apps, how do you think of Karma in the context of, Robinhood, its ecosystem?
I think there's a big difference in target audience, but at the same time, there's a easy link to lay. So Robinhood users are coming from Web 2. It's the real world. It's stocks. It's license. It's as easy as that, right? Crypto has this layer of complexity, and with Karma, we try to eliminate that layer as much as possible. But there's a big group, a big audience that is uneducated to tap into crypto, and sure, Robinhood is trying to solve that. But if you go like further to the right, there's us, right? We understand how tokens work. We understand that tokens are interesting over stocks, for example, right? We understand the benefits that a token can bring in terms of a community. And this is a whole target audience that Karma is focused on, where it's like, I really want to integrate the token into the app. It's like, again, the benefits that you see with, a lot of these other crypto projects, which I give all the credit to be having a token. I do think
so what you're saying is like Robinhood obviously has their trading products and whatnot, but you're building an app where, they don't have a hood token integrated to their trading product, but you do. Of course, you have the social thing, which probably is unique to you that they don't also have, or they might have a different version of it. So you're saying your pitch to those users and why you're trying to be compelling is we have this kind of like micro ecosystem within Robinhood chain that is a trading audience. There's all these great social features where you discover thesis and signal, plus you trade, and the token kind of acts as a flywheel within it, representing the growth of the app itself.
Yeah, so it's really 2 points. One of them is indeed what you just said, where it's like there's a shift in target audience. And the second one is also the benefit. Why does Robinhood launch a chain in the first place? It is to attract builders, right? There's kind of a benefit what most people don't see over, not going the VC route, not going the corporate route, over like the leaner businesses like Karma is, where it's like we can iterate quickly compared to all of these other apps, right? I'm not scared to fail. I'm not scared to iterate quickly and listen to the community feedback. And I've been doing that openly, like every single day on my Twitter. You can scroll all the way down, right? So that's the second part there.
Got you. And to even touch on this, I think the compelling narrative that we keep going back to is, okay, this is, a FOMO you can invest in early. This is a FOMO you can be a part of and see the upside on. So that kind of leads me into the token. You did the relaunch. Maybe talk me through what the tokenomics look like, what model you use to relaunch, how people can get this upside on the next FOMO. And I hate doing that. The next anything is kind of, I feel like stupid to say, but it's an easy comparison there. So what do the current tokenomics look like, and why can people say, hey, I want to really see this this trading app succeed, and maybe all these different verticals it's iterating on succeed? How can I be a part of that? And why is it important in general? So maybe you could just talk to me about the tokenomics and what the holders get out of this.
Yeah. So this I like relied heavy credits to the virtuals team. I like literally went through this and I was like, we need to structure it in a way where it's scalable and I can just focus on building this product. Like, okay, Robinhood chain is solving problem one, which is RWAs were not liquid. They were illiquid, right? They're solving it by launching these tokenized RWAs, so it makes them liquid. But then there's issue 3, where Karma's going to tap in, where it's like, okay, it is liquid, but can you pay your groceries with it? Can you do actual real-world things? No, you cannot. That is accessibility layer, right? That is the layer that Karma is focused on. Very important. Note that down. Now, if you go look at the tokenomics, it's very similar to every other project that is launched. And I do believe that Virtuals has a really kind of like they did so many iterations in the last year. They're not around for a couple weeks since that the chain launch. No, like they know what they're doing. So I heavily trusted to them on this. One of the things that I heard Don talk about, when he came on the show just an hour ago or so, is like the ACF model, right? If I'm pronouncing it correctly, where there's like 25% of the tokens that is locked into a fold. And between 2 million and 160 million out of the top of my head, every once in a while, every range between 2 and 10 and 20, et cetera, a small percentage of the fold gets added to the LP. Now, the interesting part there, which I was like, this is genius, is it basically creates the funding mechanism for Karma, right? It makes sure that if you are a holder, if you are into the app, you are ensured that I am aligned as a founder, and the rest of the team is aligned with making sure that there's token demand, making sure that there's actual value for the token. Because the truth is, the higher this ACF, or the more this ACF model, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, gets triggered, the more funding we get, which again is needed in the space. FOMO raised 75 million. Backpack acquired like FTX Europe for like 32
million.
Yeah, and
FOMO didn't have a token, and all those early users never saw any upside.
Exactly. Right? Like this space is expensive to grow in. I'm not even talking about the regulatory side if we're talking about RWAs and making sure that everything works. So that's that, right? That's the 25%. Then there's another 25%, which is the team vesting. As simple as that, right? I'll personally use this. I'll probably relock it in about a year. I mean, you can literally look at my history on the Solana space. But this will be used like for the most important things, right? Whatever the community wants, like if it's listings, etc. Then there is normally another 50% with what would be the float. 20% of the total supply, so 40% of that float, is reserved for the V1 holders. I wanted to make sure that everything is as clean as possible. I literally spent more than 10 hours on calls with like the top holders. I messaged them. I told them like, I want to do a one-on-one call with you. I want to get to know your thoughts. I want, to make sure that everything is clear, because one of the most things that people overlook is communication, right?
Yeah.
And sure, I'm not perfect, but I really tried my best on making sure that everything is communicated correctly, and all the feedback that they told me, like, hey, I don't like this, or hey,
no, Amrish, you're honestly a great builder and like have so much credibility. We only have 4 minutes left, and I want to get through some of these things because I know Dom has some stats put up there, and we want to talk about that. But really quick, maybe addressing this question directly, what's your value accrual plan after 90 days? You said first 90 days from swap fees, but maybe you could kind of parlay that into some of this traction you already have.
Yeah. So I'm going to iterate and talk about this very openly, and also I've got some talks planned with the virtuals team and some other people to kind of go deeper into it, so you'll be able to follow like the journey as it goes. I'm very open-minded, right? I want the best thing for everyone, so there's not this is a set plan and this is going to happen. But what is going to happen is I did set in stone for the first 90 days that 100% of the revenue of the swaps will be used to really show the commitment towards the token. So 95% of all the net in-app swap supply will be used to buy Karma back. 50% of that will be reserved, similar to like how Hyperliquid does. I think there's like some very interesting things what Ansem has done, right, in terms of airdrop. So like you've got 50% on the side there, and the other 50% will be used to facilitate the functionality that Don was talking about, which is the creator revenue program. So this will attract naturally more users, and specifically users with a following, which in turn attracts more following into the platform and kind of creates like the demand kind of part of the flywheel. After the 90 days, just to finish that off, it's the 90 days is just set there to, again, make a data-driven decision, right? So after the 90 days, we look like, okay, how does everything look like, token-wise, company-wise, buyback-wise, et cetera, similar to what Pump Fund did. It's nothing like, crazy. Like they did it to like 50% after the 100%, right? Just as an example.
And Pepe has a question. We could use the Visa card on Karma to pay for things, which from the funds from our token holdings, right?
You can currently use it on stablecoins. We do have the access with Rain to implement, excluding the US, indeed the functionality that he's referring to, where you're using tokens to pay, but it's not live yet, and it's still like we're like kind of scoping it out, and the new token launch will help expedite that.
We have to finish on these metrics. Dom, can you pull those metrics back up, and then we'll finish on Crypto Jones's question?
Yeah, so we want to talk about metrics here because these are important and they're looking good for you guys. Recently, you enabled the trading, which I think has caused a big jump, right? Before it was just spending transaction from the credit cards. What does the metrics look like? What are some growth projections? How do you take this from current state to, again, scaling to something like the likes of FOMO and beyond?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, I think the screen literally answers your question. I've made sure that all of the data is publicly available, right? all of it is visible on I think it's stats.karmapay.xyz. I took inspiration of this from Avicii, right? Credit to them. I think it's a great idea to build in public. I'm not, the guy that won't commit or like say elsewhere. Like I learn from other people. So yeah, everything is visible, and I think it will be very interesting the coming few days, since a lot of attention has been kind of accrued around not only the token but in turn also the app, to see the growth the next coming weeks. A lot of people are also like utility buyers, people that are actually interested in RWA. And I think in the next couple of weeks, when we will be implementing kind of the first experiments around RWA in the app, will be very interesting to indeed look at these numbers. I mean, if you look at all of the volumes around all the apps, Karma is just very small. It's very small. There's like so much room for growth, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, the first 90 days, all in. Let's do it. All in on the product, making sure that there's a direct linkage, and yeah, iterate on it.
Yeah, and we're in this hyperscaler phase, I think, for some of these mobile trading apps. You look at FOMO here. These are the numbers from FOMO. I mean, this is daily, $200,000+ a day. For a few days here in July. So like, it's a high margin business. There's a lot of opportunity here and potential. This is our time. We got to wrap. But Amrish, always a pleasure to have you on. And if you guys want to learn more about Karma, you can go through the MCG discography and watch like the 3 other episodes we've done with Amrish.
We are still waiting for Vex real quick, so maybe we can just feed in. Oh, okay, we just got Mikey here. But really quick, 1 minute or less. Any different integrations other than trading, like DeFi, etc.? And then is there a like Robinhood developer eco contact? I mean, I don't know if you sat down with Vlad yet, but really quick, these 2 questions, 1 minute or less.
Yeah, I won't spread like rumors and stuff. I absolutely love Vlad. And there's a direct linkage between the Virtuals team and the Robinhood team. I'm very close to the Virtuals team. Yeah, one thing I can say is we'll be focusing on 2 things, which is RWA and agentic trading. I haven't even touched into agentic trading yet, because I do think I heard like some other people come up on the show here talking about agentic trading. I think it's very complex. I think it can be so much simplified and brought like in a simpler way, in a simpler experiences we have. I think just the final sentence there, the kind of advantage that we have is we can iterate like very quickly on top of something that's already there, compared to competitors that are still having ideas and concepts. So yeah, will be very interesting to see.
There we go. Amrish, all right. Always a pleasure. Glad to see your success on Robinhood and just in general.
Appreciate it. Just getting started. Don't call it a success yet. Well, we'll cheers later. Yeah.
All right. When you're worth later, billions, like, don't forget us. So
I won't. I promise.
I don't think you will. All right. Yeah, Amrish, that's the one nice thing about him. I mean, not the one nice thing about him, but one nice thing about Amrish is he truly does care for his token holders. Like at every step of the way, he's made sure they've been thought about in the conversation and prioritized.
And for our Virtuals fans that are joining, Amrish and Karma has been building for like over a year. So when he launched on Robinhood, it wasn't a fresh new idea or a fresh new product. It's been kind of battle tested, iterated on for some time. So to leave that there, but nonetheless, we do have one of the hottest Robinhood utility projects out there. I don't know if you want to tee up Vex here, De Niro Dom.
Yeah, I'll definitely tee it up, and I might be lagging a little bit because it is storming outside. It's hurricane season in Florida, so if you guys lose me, that's why. But here's the chart.
Your
just
roof
because really
lifts off
when the founders are sitting in the
back
room.
But yeah, sorry, Tom. I was just making a Florida joke. But...
I fly out.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's doing really well. Reached nearly $20 million market cap. Right here is the Vex website. Right, stop babysitting every trade. The safety gate never clocks out. And again, this goes back to.
All right,
did you lose me?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out, so I might just take over here and bring Mikey up. But yes, we're really excited about this conversation, and Dom's connection is kind of with the weather there. But he'll be sticking on. Mikey, how you doing? Welcome to MCG.
Hey guys, glad to be here. This is my first live stream section. It's kind of introvert guy, kind of nervous, but happy to be here.
Don't be. This is the most friendly live stream you'll ever join, so we'll make it comfortable. Maybe start with just your introduction, who you are, and a little bit about what Vex is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm Mikey. As you guys know, I'm a founder of Vex. Been in crypto for a decade, building some product. Back in the day, I own an agency related with the blockchain, technology, and branding, etc. So yeah, before that, I'm a forex trader. Yeah, that's about it
Yes.
on mine.
Yes, you
Yeah.
mentioned that a decade of experience. What does your crypto experience look like? Is it always been builder focused? You mentioned you had an agency, or has it been more trader user focused, protocol developer? Let us know your background.
Yeah, before 2022, I'm more into the trading section like pump dump, meme coin, ICO, ITO, etc. But later on, why I was in a Phantom back in the day, seeing the builder. I start deciding to go in that route, in the builder route. So since then, I built a couple of protocol and built some for the client and stuff. But for the policy reason, I don't have to. I don't want to like public it in here.
Yeah, no worries. You're free to share whatever you would like. Okay, so you have a deep background in crypto trading. You've done some building yourself. You came to this Vex product, which I will admit I saw on Robinhood at like 300K market cap and
You
totally
faded,
faded it.
right?
I faded. I regret it. I'm very sorry. But what Don mentioned, because Virtuals was on the first episode, he mentioned, hey, we want projects to come, but not like put it all out there right at the beginning. And maybe just like how did you roll this out? Was it just started as a website, an idea on Robinhood, or like do you have a working product? Like, and then what is that product?
Yeah, so Vac is already have a working product already. Like we built this scene like early 2026. Have that idea why like when OpenClaw or Hermes and all these agent frameworks start to coming out, I test almost every one of them. So you guys know I'm a part of my blood is a trader, right? So and I wish I have an agent that was truly the one that could trade for me while I slept using my own strategy. Uh, as I usually trade on forex, using some TA like Elliot's Way, Dow Theory, like some lame TA that you guys I guess don't want to hear. But yeah, so back in the day, I test everything. It's worked perfectly. But I even made some profit. Like I connected it to Pump Fund on Solana, and it made me like 5x in like 2 hours. That's kind of
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. So,
And what's it doing? Is it running like some sort of particular strategy? Is it deploying? What's it doing that's generating that type of return?
Yeah, so back in the day, I used OpenClaw like in January, I guess. I connected into like Solana chain and Pump Fund, Jupiter as well, tracking the meme coin to see what is the what attract most of the money now, and I like jump in and the agent jump in and exit like around like 50%, I guess. But it's only work good in like a few hours at first. So and it's getting like frustrated, getting forget my strategy, everything around it. So
Okay.
and mostly yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Yep. Sorry. So after I test all the type agent, I feel this was a gap. So I messaged Desu, that's a guy, that's the CTO. We are the two it's a two-man show. Only me and they should work on this project. So I told them let's build our own framework, and so yeah. So here's Vex.
Hollows, I think we answered that question. It's a two-man show. And I see on the right of this demo, you are interacting with a chat interface on the right. Are you giving it strategies to execute or instructions and the agent is executing? Or what role is this demo kind of playing here?
Yeah, so it's at the moment it's already running in it's already trading on my screen. Maybe I will show you guys.
Please, can you share screen? We love live product demos. So why don't you tee that up, and as soon as you're ready, we can bring it on stage.
Yeah, let me find some button here.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so right now, guys, what I see on screen is it's saying buy $10 BTC long with 3x leverage, market stop is whatever, and then it's executing it. If you guys know, if anyone's ever traded before, you got to do all that pretty manually. And you might even have some bias in terms of, you know, I don't want my stop loss at this level because I'm super greedy or something like that, or my take profits, etc. So maybe the agent
Mikey,
helps with that.
can I jump in here too?
So you guys good to see my screen, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Don, if you want to go ahead and ask your question.
Mikey, can you hear me? I'm not sure if Mikey can hear me.
Okay, Mikey, sorry, go ahead if you want to run the demo.
Oh yeah, I guess I already shared it, right?
Yes, you're on
cool.
screen now.
Yeah, so this is the autonomous agent is working on. I don't have to do anything. Just only create a mission. Tell it, for example, like this. Give me a second. I'm trading it.
No worries. So walk us through this. So you're constructing a trade.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm doing some trading section at the moment.
Okay, so you're putting is it totally autonomously trading for you, or is it just executing the trade? I'm just trying to understand what it's actually doing here.
Yeah, it's autonomous trading section. So when you come to Vex, download the Vex app, you have this type of section. So here's the section we are working on. New section. You give it a name, Mikey, for example. This one is just the normal agent, right? Like the one you give it to them. You give some execution order to him, and it will listen to you and do it when you hit the confirm. And in this side is the mission. It's autonomously like working while you're sleeping, and the full
We
access
like
one
that. Make money while we sleep, right?
True. That's what I want to do, and this this will like at first it's a baby, right? Vex
Yeah.
agent is a baby, so you have to train it a bit. The more you train it, the more you teach it, the more better. And also by the time it's learn to your execution, learn to your strategy, your everything that you like execute through it. So here's my
so this is an important part because we've seen like basically trading agents, you know, on this show forever, and then, you know, they don't all like actually even sometimes work for a long time, and you have to give the trading agent some edge or some kind of unique information. Is that correct? And that's what you're talking about in training it. Like how do you train your trading agent on Vex?
Yeah, so at first you open the app and you have to like what do you want it to become? For example, for me, I tell it to become a pro trader on Sol USD Go or BTC, for example. I teach him the ICT option, the Elliott way, the Dow theory, everything, and for it to become a pro trader. It will not say right away into its memory. So here's the fun part. Our memory is different our memory is different than other agent memory. We call it biological memory. So the most agent remember by throwing everything into like a giant storage box and search to it later. I think that's not a memory. That's a trash can with a search bar only. So Vex remember like a brain, but first it does not remember everything. It's keep what is worth learning and throw away what is just noise. The second lesson that have not been useful for a long time slowly faded, and just like how you forget things that no longer matter. Yeah, Vex does not completely delete them. They just simply sink into the background, so they stop influencing every decision. Yeah, so the way we call it biological memory because it's learned like a human. It's
So
learned like your brain. Yep.
I want to touch on this as well, because obviously Robinhood's making this massive push towards agentic finance. It's kind of been one of the leading topics on the show today. You guys had, again, one of the first and earliest launches on the Virtuals Launchpad. What was the thinking behind this? How are you guys? And there's even a question here, if you have any ties to Arbitrum, Virtuals, maybe even Robinhood. But what was your thinking going into this launch here? In terms of directionally, where is Robinhood headed? Why was it important for you guys to position on this blockchain to build out this agentic finance solution?
Yeah, so Robinhood to me is a new chain, but everyone behind it is for me it's like a Degen, a giant Degen behind the chain, I believe. So
Who,
We're
Vlad?
all at heart. We're all at heart.
yeah, so at first I know that this will be something banger in 2026. So we decided to go to Robinhood first, connect to every DApp, every DeFi app, every infrastructure on Robinhood. From there, from the beginning to play some first break for the agentic capital market. It's been cool to call it like that because that line come from Solana. So at the first day of launch, have a lot of launch the product, have a lot of love from Solana, from Arbitrum, from Virtual. Shout out to them. It's been an amazing launch. So and till now we still writing, have around like 1K of user download the app, and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
So
it's just like
1,000 users. I do want to ask this about the product, but I want to talk about this user traction. So you have 1,000 downloads of users. Are they putting volume through it, and are you guys clipping a fee from that? Like, how does the 1,000 users translate into kind of traction on the revenue or kind of business side?
Yeah, for now it's early, right? Like everyone still like get some caution, in this crypto space, people get some caution to download anything. So we have to prove it slowly for them. But happily that they're like at least 1,000 guy believe in the product, right? So on the revenue side, we already connected, already integrated into like Kyber Swap, Jupiter, and just like yesterday, we just announced we hyperliquid integration. So on each transaction made by the agent, we take a little bit of part of that to go to the treasury as our like product treasury, and we will have to use as treasury efficiently. We will have some like token utility to be stick it with the app and ride with the app to grow more and more and more. So, but I don't want to leak too early because
Well, we can leak all the alpha we want on the show. It's totally fine. We'll talk about the token in a minute here in your launch. I want to ask for H Hallows here from YouTube. Downloaded and set up Vex this morning. Can we get some more tips for new users? What would you tell a new user the first thing they should do after downloading Vex?
Yeah, after downloading Vex, you don't. My biggest tip for the user, because I faced this before. for to use an agent, you like for OpenClaw or Hermes, you think you before you need a good LLM model. For example, like Cloud just dropped Fable 5, GPT Zone, for example. That will make the agent smarter, but in Vex, you don't have to do that. The LLM model in Vex, it's just for reasoning, and every core section, every core memory of the agent will handle its business, handle your execution, handle your strategy, handle everything. So even you use the cheapest model, Vex still can do that like perfectly for you. So for me, I'm using like DeepSeek V4, very cheap. So I don't have to like trade aggressively to make out my LM model from open rotor back. So that's a tip for me.
I'm not sure if you can hear me or if I'm coming through. Hopefully, I am. But if you are, I want to touch on these integration parts because I think that's the number one thing here, right? How can we give our users access to the most diverse set of markets, right? Whether it's prediction markets, whether it's perps, whether it's spots, whether it's options, so on and so forth. And with all the different venues where you can aggregate from. So, my question to you is what kind of integrations are you looking to add or are on the roadmap? And are you guys planning a white label solution to where maybe if I'm on Hyperliquid natively, can I just type with a chatbot? Or if I'm on Jupiter natively, can I just type with the chatbot? Because I think that opens up a very, very large top of funnel. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that and kind of some of the efforts that are going towards integrations.
Yeah, on the integration side, Vex is designed to be integrated with every type of venue. In actually, we haven't announced this yet, but in Vex, we already have Polymarket live. We have Jupiter, we have like 40 chain live at the moment. Not only Robinhood, Arbitrum, or Solana. So it will be amazing to like. Oh, yeah, you guys still see my screen, right?
Yeah, all good. We were just moving around the layout.
Yeah, for example, if you want to do like agent full asset credit, okay, Poly market.
Dude, this is so cool.
And to do auction. Okay. Just give it a bit. Yeah, we have every type of section at the moment. Yeah, wallet, portfolio, swap, bridge, trading, limit order to on Kyber swap. Yeah, we haven't announced this yet, but we have bundle in here, Hyperliquid perp, poly market.
And so I saw hypervexing was on there, which I love the name hypervexing. That's amazing, that name. But is it routing then that trade to Hyperliquid when you trade on that product on Vex?
Yeah, so you just need to type this and this one will appear.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yep, and you just hit that.
Okay. And it seemed, and this is what Crypto Jones was referring to, this kind of feels like a hybrid, like you're in the platform so you can kind of see what it's doing, but it's more natural language. Have you guys, like, is this novel that you kind of have a bit of both? You have like some elements of the core Hyperliquid product and interface, but also this, you know, chat window here that allows you to do a natural language. Am I understanding that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, shout out to Robinhood. We have Robinhood flagship version as well.
Okay, talk to us about this. What is this? What does that enable?
For on this version, is only changing the UI UX front end of the app.
Okay.
But on Hyperliquid, we already integrated into like Uniswap virtual relay bridge. You can bridge from any chain to Robinhood to while working with Vex. So it's really cool.
How long have you been working on this product? This seems like it's quite well built and thought out.
Yes, sir. We've been built this around like 4 to 5 months already. But the Hyperliquid, we just like non-stop working, no sleep day to integrate it. So I feel like people need Hyperliquid like that project will that type of perp will be like
No
more
sleep days.
benefit for them. Yeah, no sleep day. And
I love it.
from last week.
I love it. That's how you want your devs to operate. I want to talk about, and it's a question I've kept asking a lot of these projects that have come on, but like the direction we're headed towards in agentic finance. I think, and I bring this up again, we see that today, maybe the majority of the users on the internet are humans, but that's quickly transitioning to agents. And so I kind of want to better understand your product. I need to understand your vision on directionally where we're headed. And that's going to lead me to the following question, which is, okay, if agentic finance is coming, how do you guys build a moat around your product and make sure someone else doesn't just do the same thing as AI continues to develop and become smarter and more accessible?
Yes, sir. So our differentiation of Vex product is the memory and security. We don't know yet if everyone can copy this one because everything is open sources. We public it in GitHub, but stick with some license in it to like prevent some cloning situation. But I believe on the speed side, when they done to like clone this product, we are on the next level.
There's a question here about a Meteor or DLM integration. Is it possible to add things like Meteor's liquidity providing as a strategy on your product that's not necessarily EVM?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can do that. We can do that even with the like hot version or like hot version DEX like VE33 model. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it's the mechanism is kind of strict. So we can even do like integrate everything into this type of app.
Well, we will make an intro for you. Meteor supports our show, so
Let's freaking go.
we'll make a connection there. Very cool.
Nice.
I also want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier. You mentioned 1,000 downloads. That's really good. I mean, that's really good product market fit for early stages. What's your go-to-market strategy, right? I mean, as we shift to this agentic finance world, how do you guys capture that market and get people using your platform?
So yeah, at first we have some situation to like convince everyone to download the app. Yeah, you guys know, crypto space kind of risky to download a random app on a 2K follower account. So our go-to-market is simple. We make the token has some utility and gravity with in the app. We partner with the greatest builder in the space to prove that this product is working. So we just like for now we just like going round and round through this step and keep announcement. Yeah.
And with that, are you guys planning just like a web interface of this? Because like you mentioned, crypto traders are very nervous to download things, rightfully so. Are you guys planning to have something be just accessible through the web?
Yeah, so at first I'm thinking the same like you because well like crypto trader is crypto trader, right? They can like freely to go to the website but not in downloading anything. But that will make another situation of the security. So the Vex app been built with a quote like the agent you can trust with capital. So if we build on the website, it may not be like the most security as it's in your computer. So that's why we create this local computer. Everything is sitting on your computer memory, your key. When you create a wallet, it's already encrypted and saved into your local computer. And it's all the fact is all your. It's not like from or anyone. So in the future, maybe we can make it like more easier for user to access. For now, it's available on Mac and Linux. Windows version coming soon, and also maybe we can create an app of iPhone app or Android app to make everyone connected with their agent in their computer to control it easier, and also Telegram acceptable like every type of agent in this market as well.
Got you. And we got to wrap here. So I have three more questions actually that I want you to go through. So if you can make it quick, that'd be appreciated. I want to talk about the market opportunity here. You're operating in a pretty big market that's growing rapidly. If you had to kind of solidify this for people that are listening and help them understand the market you're operating in, could you kind of talk through the size and the market opportunity that we have here?
Yeah, so we are in the early phase of AI agent, especially on the crypto side of thing. AI agent plus crypto will be bigger and bigger because it as I see is in the future maybe we no need human to be interact with the blockchain anymore. It's all AI agent. So so I think it's a good opportunity to build an agent now and use an agent now, or else we're gonna be lost. So I hope it's answer your question. Sorry, my brain is kind of freeze right now without
Nope.
All good. And we know you've been traveling, so understandably.
Yeah. Token utility, I think you briefly touched on it, but just so people are, we can close the loop on the token utility and tie it back to the project here. Could you briefly touch on that again?
Yes, sir. So I can only share a part of it. So as I mentioned about the every trade, every like volume generated on through Vex is we will take a little bit of the fee and it will be go to the and it go back to the Vex token, and also a part of it another option that Vex pay people will likely can pay LLM to buy Vex or any type of crypto. That's and we have some fee in there. Every penny of the fee will be used for the graded work with the Vex token. So that's all I can leak. Well, a fully paper will coming soon. I hope next week. So yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, that brings us perfectly. Stay tuned for next week for the paper. What's on the roadmap here? What are you guys most excited for? You talked through some partnerships that you have coming up, some integrations maybe. What's next up on the roadmap that people should be excited for?
Yeah, we have been talk like with a lot of partner, some big guys, some small guy, everything. So I believe in it's the next like 2 to 3 weeks. We have a lot of partner lined up to cover everything, every like corner of the Web3, I hope. And also talking with some big guy. I don't want to leak it early, but yeah, this guy is big. This guy is big. Yeah. So on the product roadmap side, we feel like that the agent only running on your computer, no one see it, is a good part, but also is a bad idea as well, because no one know the agent is doing. They thought is a human behind this wallet. So we are trying to like create an agent scan, for example, like Ether scan, BSC scan, that show everyone that the agent can do everything, can do anything on chain, and that will create a more visibility to for our human to take a look on the agentic market side of thing. But
Okay.
if anyone have like the same idea with me, please reach out to me. We can build that together.
All right, there you go, Mikey. We appreciate you. Vex is very cool, of course. One of the early ones. So exciting stuff. Again, right in the direction that Robinhood's leading into with agentic finance, and it seems you've been building for a while, and you're doing good stuff. So we appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you guys so much.
Of course, we'll have to get you back on sometime. See you, Mikey.
Yeah, and this actually a really good tip. I would publish profitable trade ideas or something, case studies, stories, anything you can on your X, because I think it'll give good inspiration for other traders. So maybe we'll end with that there, Mikey.
Yes,
Good,
sir. And
good chatting with you.
also we have a small campaign for the user of X out there. So if you guys already use agent, please record me some video, post it on X, doing some content. We have like if you have a best content, I will send you like $1,000 right away. Yeah.
Well, we like
Wow,
1,000 plus.
$1,000 for good content only, of course. Very good. All right.
All right. See you, Mikey.
Yep. Thank you, guys. See ya.
See you, Mikey.
H Hollows, at the end of the shows, y'all go back through with front notes and your own takes. First time with y'all. Been following this space of development for some years, but it seems finally materializing. Yeah, we sure do. So at the end, we'll definitely talk through some of the projects, give just high level thoughts, what we're thinking about these conversations for sure. If it's your first time here, definitely make sure you follow on YouTube. I see you're on YouTube, but make sure to follow on Twitter. We're growing very, very fast.
Yeah, 500 plus interviews. So we've seen a lot of projects. So
indeed. All right. With that being said, we have our final stream of the day, our final segment, I should say, with Grid Arena here, the first prediction arena for stocks and tokens, fast on chain, 24/7, live on the Robinhood chain. Again, leaning into this RWA, maybe agentic finance niche vertical. I guess you should say, not even niche at this point. It's gonna be so big that Robinhood is bridging into and focused so heavily on. So, let's get the team on here. And Josh, I'm going to let you try to pronounce the name first.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Just to save you some trouble, my name is like I've got two names. So my name is Amir. I'm in the crypto space. I'm known as Amir. Also, friends and family call me Arvin, another Persian name. It means friend. Whichever one you're more comfortable with.
Hello, friend. Amir, Arvin, friend.
We'll just all three. Yeah. Amir, Arvin, friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. You guys came on last minute. We were literally talking to getting this thing scheduled, and Don's like, "Yo, we got this team building stealth. They're doing really cool things."
I was like, Arvin better book like in the next 5 minutes because I'm pushing this schedule out. So yeah, you did.
Yeah. That was super last minute. I mean, we just launched a few hours ago. I don't know, like how many hours it's been, 10, 12 maybe. So yeah, but I'm excited. I'm happy that I got the chance to be here to talk to you guys. I even watched some of the previous live streams. Pretty cool. Yeah, about what you guys are doing.
Well, appreciate it. You get to close us off today. So talk us through, from the start. We want to get to know you a little bit more. So maybe just give a bit of background and we can then jump into the product.
Yeah. So about me, I've been in the crypto space since 2016. So yeah, I think I remember I bought my first Bitcoin at 3.5K ish. Yeah. My background is marketing. I did Web2 marketing for a lot of brands, and I think my involvement in virtuals started last year. That was my I launched my first project on virtuals. Did pretty good. We were like this smart data and analytics for virtuals, really popular within the eco and with the users. And also then way before the neobank boom, we were actually one of the, I think maybe top the first 2 or 3 neobanks to launch on Base VPay. And still got plenty of users. I think at VPay you have 5,000 daily active users. We expanded to multiple chains. We're also integrating Robinhood chain pretty soon. And now Grid, which is something we've been working on for I think around 5-6 months now. Went through a lot of different changes, but the version you're seeing now is like the polished version that we're kind of happy with. And I'm also on one of the original co-founders on the board of German Blockchain Week. I think that's all about me.
Dom, you're muted, buddy. Oh,
appreciate that. Sorry, embarrassing. Maybe we jump into the product a little bit more, but even before that, I want to touch on your time at VPay. You grew that to 5,000 users, so it has some pretty good traction. Early in the neobank kind of meta. Of course, we had Amrashan as well, who was very early in that neobanking kind of meta. So maybe talk me through what experience that did for you, and how that kind of led you to, I guess, Grid in its current form.
VPay was a really interesting experience when we first started. Neobanks weren't that hot. So like and like initially we had a lot of thought around us. It wasn't like that well received, but we kept building. We kept putting out features. I mean, nowadays everyone is like doing neobanks so easily because all these big providers started, making everything so easy. Also an API, a single link. Rain cars became super public at some point. But we, when we were starting, like none of these kind of, was at least as mainstream as they are today. So we had to build a lot of the relationships, the infrastructure for the banks, for the providers ourselves. So that was an interesting curve for us. But yeah, and as we move, we also moved and little dabbled on the B2B side of things as well. I can't name names, but also a lot of the neobanks that you see on the market right now, some of which have, to be fair, a bigger volume than VPay itself. We've built their neobanks for them. Basically, they're working on our rails because we work also with multiple banks and multiple providers. And but it's been interesting because I also like on a daily basis in contact with a lot of the users, some of these like high net worth individuals that we have on VPay, and like seeing what they want, kind of what they think of the market is interesting to see. And I think Robinhood chain has shaken up the market for the good, and it's kind of brought back excitement for me to the market for the first time in a long while.
As it has for us. Josh, I think this product might be right up your alley here, but maybe you can get us into the product now and just what you're building here and how Grid actually works.
Okay, about Grid. So prediction markets are not a new thing. We've seen plenty of prediction markets, Polymarket, Kalshi, all of these. And then you have Limitless, which you go on, log in, you just say, oh, the price is going to go down, go up. Same thing on Polymarket, you have these 5-minute markets, but they're like very much boring, very much dominated by these scripts and bots these days. Like everyone is just trying to play the margin game, not really. I started with those myself, like I was really into them at some point, but they're really not something that makes you want to stick around. I got tired of them, I got bored of them super quickly. So I was talking to my co-founder, I think around like 5-6 months ago. These were, I think, maybe the early days of Polymarket launching their 5-minute markets, about how we could, put our own spin to it, make it into like a more interesting, more interactive, more exciting way. And this is when we came up with this concept of having this interactive and for the users also make them more involved. They can see the chart. They can actually predict the exact price sell, as we call it, wherever the price will land. And also giving them a chance, like more than a chance of just, either you win and double your money, or, you lose your money with the multipliers. And sometimes people
so
take
you have to land it in the cell itself, and it has to be within that time slot. Like I see at the very top. I
think we've tried to make the UI as intuitive as possible, like as the timer, the 5-minute cell goes by, the cell also gets filled out as it goes.
Right. So on the right, you have price levels, and then at the top you have time. How big are those cells time wise?
5 minutes.
And price wise. Okay. So these are 5-minute cells, and then price wise, what's the average threshold here? I think
it depends on the token, but also you can see the price on the right hand side. For example, I think for NVIDIA, it's around less than $1, probably.
Right.
Yeah, less than $1. Yeah.
And so we've seen like this grid model before. Some people have tried this. I wouldn't necessarily say I've seen it like drastically take off and be wildly successful as a trading modality. What would you say kind of to that? And do you think like this is a way people, trade easier? Like what kind of problem does this solve in terms of trading? Does it just make it more fun? Is it more analogous to, I don't know, I don't want to say like gambling, but gambling. Like, what do you think?
about like we've seen many. I haven't personally seen many. I think I've seen a couple. They were on like mostly focused on tokens. I remember there was one that went super viral for a couple of days and then kind of died away. I don't know what happened with it, to be honest. But for us, like, and why we decided to do this, yes, I think the poly market and these like 5-minute markets of up and down are still getting a lot of volume on a daily basis. So I think there is still like a big market share to be had here, and yeah, for us was to kind of make it, offer that to the users, but make it not as boring and as functional as the current, party market limitless markets have become. And the other part is that it's like we are doing this for stocks, and I think like stocks these days are kind of the hot trendy thing with the users now. A lot of crypto users are just getting into stocks. So I think it's going to be a new venue and a new, easy, interactive way for them to get into stocks.
Yeah, because typically these, and I've traded the up and down markets. I've tried some of these grid products too before, but I've not done it with equities, which is interesting because equities has, a larger market structure that's outside of crypto. And it's like not as, you can't manipulate the Oracle for stocks in the same way you can for,
Right.
like
Yeah, exactly.
Skull or something like that. Okay. And so I guess maybe just what stage is this at? You just launched your token, and we'll get to the token in a minute, but as for the product itself, you've been building this for a little bit, I think you said, with your co-founder. Like, do you have users using this already, or is it still kind of in its infancy?
Yeah. So we had like when we were, the core product, maybe the base of the product was already many months ago. We worked a lot on polishing the UI to kind of get it to the point that we are happy with for the users. It would be like fun and exciting for the users, because that's an important aspect of this. We had like a lot of kind of closed testnet users in this time. We reset all the statistics today as soon as we launched. So we kind of unofficially kicked off our season 0, as we're naming it. I think that's, I checked a couple hours ago, we had around 50 users just today in the few hours we launched. 50 users came to the platform, connected their wallet, opened the position. So we have 50 testnet users right now who have opened positions. We've had 2,000 positions across these users, and we also have like a market maker for the predictions.
So you said 200 or 1,000 or 200,000 or 200 users?
50 users and 200,000 positions, and
dollars
across all
or
these
individual positions?
No, positions, just individual positions. Yes.
Right,
And
because they're just for everyone to know, they're not like spot positions where you're like constantly trading. It's like every 5 minutes you have to put a position on.
You can go you can right now go and select, I don't know, 50 different cells and
right.
bet on all of them at the same time. Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of these grid mining products, whether it be ore supply, bean, and zinc. So this is this kind of like, do you have can you run a strategy here? Like, do you tell an agent like, oh, run me a strategy, or do you just manually come in and put them on squares?
So right now it's manual, but on the roadmap we do have opening this up to AI agents in the roadmap in the next couple of months. So we're going to be doing two things. One is letting AI agents compete on these grids and cells, and the second part is letting AI agents even create their own grids, manage their own grids, manage the liquidity for their grids, and do whatever they want with their own basically arena or grid.
And I
So
see
that's
some of the
part of the roadmap.
I see some of the exits here. You mentioned a market maker. Like, who's the counterparty to these trades? And is there like something like a house edge here? Like, how do you balance the math here?
For now, just because we are on the testnet and we're just getting the users and the volume on these cells, we are doing it ourselves just to balance this out. But once we get out of the testnet and we enter the mainnet, it's going to be purely based on the liquidity and the bets placed by the players. We try to be as hands-off with this. That's our goal, to be as hands-off with this as possible and not just let the players decide.
I would be curious to see the success rate. Obviously, we know day trading has like a 95, 96% failure rate for a lot of day traders. I wonder if the success rate is better, worse, or how it varies. And I know it's been small and early at this point.
Yeah, we have live stats on the website of everything that's happening. You guys can also see that if you enter the app, click on the settings. There is a page called Explore. You can see it there. Right now, the win rate for players is 15.7%.
Right. And so, Dom, if you think about it, it's like that 5-minute time frame. You have a list of prices up and down on the vertical. And if you place close to the money, but someone places way up out of the money, they might have a higher multiple, right? Because they're taking on more, volatility risk that has to get there. But you're winning basically the losses of others, right? So there's no house edge here, so you're not taking a fee. But whatever the winning cell is getting the money that's placed in the other cells. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. I understand it. So really what you need here is
we are not against the users. We are not playing against the users. Yeah. It's just
this is obviously still zero-sum game. You're playing against other users and you're playing against the money that's in the other cells, basically. And there's some math equation that calculates, hey, if money's placed in this cell and this one close to the money wins it, they give it to you on some sort of ratio.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is a question here from H Hollows, which is interesting. He said, I feel like this product will just be swallowed up by a larger company. What's proprietary? How would you capture enough market share before then? And I think this kind of comes back to the classic distribution conversation, right? Because
that's the question with you can ask for almost any product. I think I was watching the VEX project before that. Yeah, there is no like definite answer to this. Yeah, of course you cannot guarantee that you won't be swallowed up. Yeah, of course, like tomorrow Robinhood decides to launch this natively on their app. Of course, we'll be swallowed by that. But one thing like at least doing VPay taught me is that. Because we at VPay, we never raised VC money. We did the same route as, just launching on rituals, completely crowdfunded by the users. But one thing that it taught me that you can always find your own market share. And with VPay, we never competed. We never gave out crazy cashbacks like, I don't know, Tria or whatever, who were giving out like 10, 12% in cashbacks, or Coinbase, who was like giving 8% in cashbacks in Bitcoin. Of course, you cannot compete with those. But one thing that experience taught me is that it's never always about, competing with the big guys on numbers. Like there's this dick measuring contest of cashback going on in the neobank sector. And we never competed with that, and we still got
our user base.
Yes, through being like incredible support for our users. Our cards working perfectly.
It happened with like X402 as well. Like I understand.
Yeah. So we're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna do right by users. We're gonna be the first. We positioned ourselves as best as we could on the best chain pretty early on, and we're gonna be doing a lot, developing this, and I'm sure we'll find our user base, as my experience in the crypto space has taught me. But yeah, at the end of the day, native tomorrow, not much we can do.
And what's the thinking behind building on Robinhood? Of course, obviously, it makes a lot of sense when we hear what their like initiatives are and what they're leaning into. But where was your head at when choosing Robinhood as a chain?
And talk about your token launch as well. Everything around the token.
For sure. Yeah, honestly, that was not our plan at all. I mean, we only found out about Robinhood a few weeks ago. So we were planning on base. Not that I've been super happy with base. I've been extremely frustrated. I've even voiced it out with some of the directions that base took. I mean, Jesse came out and apologized for some of them, but I mean, too little, too late. But when Robinhood chain came out this month, we were just like, well, this was like a God given for us that, okay, this is the chain for us to be, because we want to do stocks, we want to do tokens, equities down the line, maybe even like, I don't know, precious metals, any kind of commodity. And I think Robinhood chain is the best match for us. So I think it was like a no brainer for us, and we went with Robinhood. And as for the launch, again, because of the previous projects, people already know me within the virtuals eco. We didn't do like any kind of promos, KOLs, any VC money, nothing. We just launched, and very pretty much close to launch. I think like maybe messaging a few people, like giving a few people a heads up that this is me, this is us launching. We're going to be stealth launching this, and then taking it from there. That was our play, and I believe that it's always better to start low, build up. I think Vex did a great job of that. They were like hovering around sub 1 million for a few days until people saw what a gem Vex was. It just shot up, and it's doing pretty good. And I think that's always the plan that works the best, keeps the team happy, keeps the users happy. And people don't, I don't know, lose or make crazy money on the token.
Totally. And talking about the token, we only have 5 minutes left, maybe 4.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Do you have thoughts around like buybacks or any sort of like token utility? Like how do you see the token playing a role in this product?
So 3 different routes we've planned for the token. One is the rebate. The token holders and stakers will gain automatic rebates. So they'll be paying less fees when trying to place their bets. That's one. Second one, will be having multiple seasons, and in seasons, based on the amount you hold stake, you'll be earning multipliers on your airdrop. And the last one, and the one that I'm pretty much adamant on always, is that we use 30% of all platform revenue and fee from the token to buy back the token. And also we'll share the remaining fees with our stakers, or as I like to call them, like owners, mostly, because there is this problem of tokens being completely disassociated with the project inside crypto. And I think like sharing revenue with your token owners or stakers, or whatever you want to call them, is one of the quickest ways and best ways to solve that, to address that to some extent.
Let's talk about roadmap a little bit. Obviously, we know these up-down markets have been successful, very successful on Polymarket Kalshi. You're kind of doing that, reskinning it and making it feel a little bit differently. So what kind of happens next, right? What does the roadmap look like, and how do you go and bring this to the correct audience? Maybe this audience is already trading on Polymarket and Kalshi, these up-down markets, but this UI, UX feels better, looks better, interacts better for that specific niche. How do you do this? How do you bring it to the masses? What does the roadmap look like?
Okay, now so I'm gonna talk pretty quickly to cover all of this. So 2 different sides to this question: roadmap and what we're gonna do to bring these users. On the roadmap side, we're gonna be starting with the testnet tomorrow. We're gonna announce our massive airdrop campaign to get the testnet users. Our goal is to hopefully get 50 to 100K users for the testnet, and hopefully try to get them to stick around after the mainnet launch. And this is going to be also done in a seasonal way. And after that, we'll be opening up the arena after mainnet to AI agents, as I mentioned. And one is the AI agents being able to bet on the grids, and the second one is AI agents being able to manage their own grids and arenas. And last one, again, in a few months from now, we'll be opening up to more than just stocks and tokens, and we'll be trying to be covering all the commodities, precious metals, anything, basically anything.
Really quick, agents. I mean, And correct me if I'm wrong, is there some sort of strategy here where an agent may see like a mispriced grid and then have a hedge somewhere, or say, oh, I'm going to deploy on that based on probabilities, risk reward, like, and then you see them providing liquidity to this? Does that make
Definitely.
sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way we're going. I don't think humans can really keep up with agents. I don't know. If you're seeing it with Vex and a lot of these similar projects.
Yeah, you get someone who's having a
yeah,
few drinks and they're like, oh, put like half an ETH on whatever square,
right.
and then all of a sudden the other squares are mispriced based on where the PA is, and the agents come in.
Yeah.
And
We might experiment with separate human and AI agent arenas or
Sure.
grids, but yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's gonna be like a market. The financial markets are probably gonna be dominated by AI agents a lot. I mean, AI agents controlled by humans at the end of the day, but still dominated by AI agents on a more manual way. And the last part about how we're gonna get these users. Yeah, there are already a lot of established platforms that we can, get or steal their users from. Kalshi, Polymarket, Limitless, all of these. I think they will be happy to see something like Greed, doing this exact same thing with better incentives, with better, UI and much more interactive. I think that's going to be a big area for us to focus on. The other area is like the users of Robinhood and Robinhood app and Robinhood chain. I think we have like a really good narrative and utility for this chain. And I think whenever we see the bosses at Robinhood chain talk about their vision for the chain, it's something very close, very similar to what we're doing and where we're going. And last one, we do have the option to deploy Grid, deploy Arena for almost any token, any stock. So that's going to be another area for us, like partnering and collabing with different tokens that have active communities. We can just bring them on to Grid.
Yep, very interesting. I do think, in this niche of up-down markets, you only cover the big ones, right? It's pretty much just Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Solana. And so like having the optionality, I do think this niche could be verticalized a lot in terms of what do we offer, can we give and reskin and kind of reshape how the people that trade these markets think and look at it. And if you can do that, you do have a market that's there for you to take. So interesting stuff. Any closing thoughts, Josh?
No, I think Garvin, that was really good. We gotta see how this goes. When's mainnet? You mentioned testnet, but when's mainnet?
I think we are ready to go to mainnet at almost any time because we've done extensive test net for ourselves in like a closed test net. I think we're gonna take it milestone based, and as soon as we hit 50K tested users or somewhere around that, we're gonna move on to mainnet. So our goal first is to get a lot of people hooked on Grid, get them to play on Grid on a daily basis, make Grid their daily go-to a prediction platform, and that's when we'll move on to mainnet.
Sounds
Love
good.
it. All right, it's been a great conversation. We will keep up with you and follow the journey.
Yep. Good luck, Garvin.
Same here, guys. Great talking to you, and thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Yes. Cheers.
Peace. All right, Josh. That was our Virtuals Robinhood Gate.